Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 331 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's in a strange game with me tonight?
Hello, I am your companion for the Xeno series. It is Dominic. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm Trey. Take it easy on me. I'm not meant for this line of work, Johnson.
Hey, I'm Kyle from the RPG show, and caution, I am a boozer.
Yeah, I too am a boozer, and I'm also your bestest pal on the Xeno series, Isiah.
Well, welcome back. I mean, I think were all of you on Xenogears? I can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it was all.
Yeah, I wasn't live, but I did a part.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I think
we are here.
So I'm assuming it's probably just going to be the five of us for the rest of the Xeno series whenever
try.
you do those. It makes
happening
sense.
this year.
I mean, we'll see how much I can save for Xeno 3. I mean, it's pretty expensive. You know, I might
We
need
got
to
other ways for you to play it.
we gotta add a tier.
Emulation.
We gotta add a tier to get
Emulation.
help Trey get the $300 PlayStation 2. Xeno
Right.
3.
Hey, I mean, if you do that, I will gladly contribute.
I was tempted. I mean, I don't think I'd go 300, but I might have done 700 for part 2, which I saw at Live Action Games in Champaign.
That's insane. Part 2 is not $700.
Not 700, $70.
Oh,
Okay.
700.
Yeah, that's
That's
just
just got-
too much.
That 70 and 3 was 300. But at least I saw them like
Jesus
physical
Christ.
in a store, you know.
I mean, I would say this game might come out on Switch, but this game's all about emulators, so Nintendo could never release it, you know. So hey,
I mean, I'm
They're-
surprised. I'm surprised with how close they are with the Xeno, because Xenogears are Xenoblade is like killing it on Switch. So I'm surprised. But maybe I don't know. Maybe some shit.
Well, it's probably because it's
Maybe
owned
they
by
just don't
Namco
wanna-
still.
I mean, you can see how the Bait and Kaitos remaster happened. Like, Nintendo had very little to do with that.
Yeah, that was Namco too. So I don't know. I always figured it would happen. Honestly, I thought we would see a
Me too.
Xenosaga re-release. But as you were saying, Dominic, like the styles are so different. Maybe they just don't want to.
It'd be hard to really be like, hey, this is a complete trilogy and everything is here. I feel like you'd have to choose, because if you didn't choose, it's just look like a mess.
That's fair.
no,
That's fair. Although maybe they give Takahashi the chance to go and fix it.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Xenosaga Episode 1, Der Wille zur Macht.
The Will zur Macht, the will to power.
I think they
Yep.
maybe
I
they
was just
want to
about
look
to say
forward.
that.
Maybe they want to look forward more than looking back. You know, it's like we're only doing Xenoblade Chronicles re-releases. We don't need anything.
Did I take
Right.
German because I played this series? Probably.
Developed by Monolith Soft, published by Namco, and came out in 2003 in America, 2002 in Japan.
Oh, really? It says 2001 on my game.
Yeah.
Well, see, so it was February 2002, right? So that means it was
Yeah.
probably went gold in like December or something.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, oh, this is pretty good for a 2001 game. I mean, I didn't look it up, but on the title, it says 2001. So that's just maybe that was
It's-
Japanese day.
It's funny how like it looking at it now, it definitely seems like a Dreamcast era game for sure.
It really does. It does have like those Dreamcast era graphics,
Yeah.
but it was also very early in the PlayStation 2's life cycle, so developers were still trying to figure out how to get the most out of it.
Right.
I thought it looked great for an early for what I thought was an early PlayStation game.
Yes,
PlayStation 2 was
absolutely.
like
Oh, I agree.
right? So I think it
they did
still
a great
looks pretty
job.
good to this day.
Yeah, for a PlayStation 2 game, it definitely holds up graphically.
Yeah, right. I have it right behind me.
Yeah.
It says 2001 on the title screen. I don't know why.
Huh.
It says Xenosaga 2001. Been lying to me
and-
this whole time.
Fun fact, this game has over 7 hours of cutscenes, because there's a YouTube video of the entire cutscene.
Surprise, surprise!
I thought there was
Which
going to
is-
be more. I thought it'd be like
Yeah.
half, like
If
20.
you
is
want, I got a quick
funny.
answer on that 2001.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be released that year, but in September it was delayed. So they probably just never changed the data in the game after the delay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it says trademark 2001, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought maybe that was when it was released. So that would make sense.
Well,
Well, no,
considering
yeah, that would be when they filed for the trade, or that would be when the trademark was granted.
right.
Sure.
Hey, you learned something.
So-
Wasn't there a story that they only got the engine running like a few months before it shipped too?
Yeah, like 3 or
6
4
months.
I think.
6 months
yeah.
before 6 months before the game shipped is when they
So-
finally got access to Unreal Engine, because like Unreal was touting that, look, it's going to be very universal. So a bunch of designers signed on, and then they had delays. So they finally got it in their hands 6 months before ship date.
So September to October, November, December, January, February. That's 5 months. So like
That's not very
See why
long.
they delayed it.
Right, it's not very long, but you have plenty of time to storyboard, script, write, do voice recordings, stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah.
So I always like to
So-
start these off with our memories. I actually bought this game the day it came out in 2003.
I remember that.
Uncle Land.
Ooh,
I remember
Uncle
when
Man.
you did that, and we were all excited because we all loved Xenogears.
Yes, that's why I bought this. And I remember I got to the cathedral ship, which is about 10 hours in or so, or 12 hours.
Yeah,
And then I just quit playing, and I never came back to this game after. And I've been meaning to for over 20 years. One
well,
reason
the
why.
podcast is a good reason.
Oh, it is.
True.
I felt really
Yes.
good when I beat this game. I was happy to delete it off my Steam Deck and never play it again. But I was really
Happy to be
happy I
done
did
with
it.
it.
Oh God, yes.
See-
Full disclosure, I did not beat the game. I'm close though. I'm about halfway, like according to the guide that I looked at, because the area is very fucking confusing. I'm about halfway through the Song of Nephilim.
So you've seen the important cutscenes.
You're
Yeah.
close enough.
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't-
close. So
You've seen the cutscenes they want to talk about anyway.
yeah,
I didn't beat it either. I was kind of I felt a little overwhelmed just for the week from work and other things, and it's really I said it last night on the other one. I don't know how you do it, Mike. Like it's hard to like shotgun like one game for me, and especially like, and I was in Green Bay for a week working on a sports show during the draft or whatever, and I took it with me, and I still couldn't make it all the way through. It's not
Where'd you
that
get to?
it's not that I didn't like it. I don't know. I just felt
life just gets in the way because
It
like
also-
the
it
past
also-
month for me.
yeah. It
Go
also
ahead.
moves like it moves really slowly, and I really wish
Very
they were
quiet.
maps. I really wish there
The
were maps
walking
for
sim.
things. I would give so much where I could just attack all the enemies at once with something, instead of just being
You
like
can.
one after another.
You can't.
Only certain,
You can,
only
yeah.
certain skills. Yeah.
I was trying to
near the
figure
end
out.
of the game.
Yeah, I was trying
almost
to
every skill
strategize
will
how I
hit.
could knock one down in like the certain amount of hits with whatever characters, and I kept switching them out. But I made it to like when you're inside Cosmos's brain or whatever when you're switching through the different characters, which was
So you did
like-
not get to the cutscenes.
That's fine. You can spoil it. I don't care. I was just defeated, and I had to put 10 hours into Masters of Terrascasi because that game is awesome.
Classic. Yeah.
I had to play that one for Mike's other show that we did last night.
You will hear about that in
Yeah.
June.
Nice.
After that.
No, but you know,
Boy, I
it's
beat
a
this in
lot. It's a
February, I think.
Also, I ran into a lot of issues with which I said it on
Yes.
the messenger, but I have I guess could I talk about my history with
Sure,
Xenosaga
no, please
here?
do.
We can make that as a segue. So like, I've always, I've been a Nintendo person for the longest time until there was a game called like, what was it, Guitar Hero that came out on PlayStation 2, which really intrigued me on that. Plus a bunch of other things that they had that were only on PS2 and not on GameCube or whatever. So I forget what year it was, but it was much farther into the PlayStation 2 life cycle. I bought one from a comic store in Peoria with my with my tax return money. I bought like a used PlayStation 2, and I still have it. It's got a Punisher movie sticker on the top of it, the Thomas Jane one. So I guess you can have an idea of like when
The good one. Yeah.
So the Thomas Jane one, I
I
don't
like
know.
that movie.
Well, when you look at the two Punisher movies, the Thomas Jane one was definitely better. But I
The
will
three
always
Punisher
think I'm
movies.
there.
Yeah, those three.
Nothing says Punisher like killing on the beaches of Florida. Like that's what I always thought of when I
Right.
It's like, yeah, beat Florida, yes. Punishers, no alleys. We don't need any of that. Those are in the comics. Nobody wants to see that. We just want to see beaches of Florida all day. That's what we need. No, whatever. I thought the Dolph Lundgren one was the most fun one actually, but that was
Yeah.
a different thing. But no, I bought it, and I also bought it for that Punisher game as well because that came out around that time, which is real good. If you ever do a show about that, I have it. We could talk about it. But no, I got it. I got a PS2 because there are all these different games on PS2, like Metal Gear Solid 3 and like Guitar Hero and Psychonauts and all these games that I really wanted to get into. And I was like, I had a GameCube, so I didn't have a whole lot of RPGs, and I had the 64 before that, which had even less. So I really wanted to dive into the big RPGs of PlayStation 2. And I remember going to like GameStop or Babbage's or whatever the fuck it was called at the time. And I was just looking at all the PlayStation 2 RPGs. And it's kind of like this major turning point in my life, and like I looked at the Dragon Quest VIII game, and for some reason I said no because it had the art of Dragon Ball, and I never was really into Dragon Ball, so I went no on that, which is weird because I love Dragon Quest so much now. But I said no to Dragon Quest VIII, and I said yes to Xenosaga, and I don't think I got that far in it. I remember getting to the part with Ziggy and Momo. And I think I just got to where I just couldn't progress anymore, and I didn't know how to grind, and it just kind of frustrated me. And I was in like my mid-20s, and I ended up returning it and never to see it again. So until now, until I bought it again after playing Future Redeemed from the Future Redeemed stuff from Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which I thought had references to it, but now I'm not sure anymore because it was like vague memories of this game. But anyway, I'm playing on that same PlayStation 2 that I got way back when. And I had a lot of issues with this one. There was actually the boss in the level with Ziggy, like that, where you fight that one guy with the scar on his face or whatever.
Margulis.
When during that boss, every time it would freeze during the like cutscenes afterwards, it would freeze to the point where it completely stopped, and I couldn't play anymore. So I had to like keep restarting and playing that guy over and over again. And by the third time, I beat him in one round. Like I just with one set. I think I had to just block once so I could do the third thing. But then I beat him like in the second round there, so I got really good at it. And then I just skipped through all of the cutscenes until it stopped freezing. And then I watched them later on YouTube. But that's how I had to like get through that part of the game. So like I had some weird issues with it, and I put a video up on the message board or in our messages too, where like the audio would get off and it would like just keep skipping through the whole thing, and the video would play, but it'd be like through the whole thing. So
it's so weird.
So I had my own issues with the game, aside from not being able to make it all the way through. That was part of it. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the first time I ever played it was actually playing on Mike's copy. Because like I had a PlayStation 2, but I was investing heavily into Xbox at that time because Knights of the Old Republic was coming out and stuff like that. So like, I don't remember getting very far on that copy. So, and I never really just had a chance to pick it up again. But it's always kind of been there in the back of my mind. Like I should really give this a shot. I've heard horrible things, but it's Takahashi. Like,
I will say for me, I had to really think about this timeline. I got a PS2 at like Christmas of 2007. Then I think I got this game on like Valentine's Day the next year. My dad just brought me to GameStop. It's like, pick something out. We'll just get it. And I saw this cover. I had no context for what it was. I'm like, sure, we'll get this. And I remember reading through the manual on the way home, getting all excited. I didn't make it very far. And then around Christmas the next year, like winter break or something, I picked it up again after getting stuck in Kingdom Hearts. And I fell in love with it. It just blew me away with like, oh, there's like story and like cutscenes happening. And it's a big deal. Like there's actual stakes. And like it was that kind of darkness that appealed to like a 13-year-old like me.
The brooding darkness.
There's a lot of stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then like I remember getting stuck and watching more cutscenes and just getting more and more intrigued of like, where is this going? This is so strange.
And don't worry, they don't know either yet.
And then it became my favorite game of all time for a while.
Part of the fun.
All right, it's impressive. And Kyle.
Yeah, so I was at a weird kind of thing with Xenogears, Xenosaga, because I was always a Final Fantasy fanboy. Like, back on the Game FAQs days, I was posting, like, trivia boards and all that crap, like, where's the Batmobile and all that stuff. So I was kind of, like, mild at best on it. Picked up Xenogears probably, like, 3 years before this came out, and really enjoyed it, but never got all the way through. And then when the PS2 came out, it was just, like, this magic golden era of JRPGs at GameStop or whatever your local shop was, where all the PS1 games were like $20 and you could just kind of find whatever you wanted, go every weekend, and like a new game that you never found came out. And this was one of the ones that I kind of followed. I had a pre-order for, and like I really liked it when I picked it up, but it just didn't move very well for me. So I played it for a while. I still have my original copy on my shelf behind me, actually, which is nice. But I never really got all the way through it. I think I got around like the Kirschwasser, Pesche cutscenes. And then it was kind of like, this is really like, what the hell are we doing anymore, guys? Like, this is a little too far up its own ass, even for like angsty 16, 17-year-old me. And like, that's saying something, honestly. So after that time, I really kind of put this down and I just picked up Star Ocean 3 instead, which I can't say did me any better at the end of the day. But I was a huge SO2 fan, so I had to give it a try. And then I never really got through it until maybe like 3 years later in college, playing through with some friends. But it just really wasn't the same then because we were all stoned or drunk or whatever it was. And it was just like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is kind of funny now, not deep at all. But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed playing it again. I had a great time with it. And I do have a bigger respect for the Xenosaga series, I think, later on in my life than I did when they came out.
I definitely can agree about appreciating it later on in life, just because like Xenosaga leans way heavier into its underlying, what's the word I'm looking for? The underlying lore and
it's
mythos.
very blatant about its themes and like what it's taking from.
Right. It leans very heavy into that. And if you don't have a lot of knowledge of that kind of stuff that it's leaning into, like alchemy, the Ballad of Roland, stuff like that, then you kind of get lost in some of the symbolism.
There's a lot in this. And for a guy who, like, to go back to what Trey said, for a guy who plays a lot of video games for this podcast, this one was tough for me too, Trey. Like, I felt overwhelmed during the week that I was playing this, and that's not normally me. Like, when I beat this game, I was like, oh, I did it. And I felt relieved. Now, I'm normally not that way. Normally, I'm fine. This game,
I should have started way early, like Dominic did. You know, like I always should start way early on these, but I don't. I'm too good at procrastinating.
I mean, I didn't finish it in February, but
I started this
way
week and a half
too early.
But you were the first one to start out of all of us, right? I thought, like from what you're saying.
No, I think I started the day Mike reached out to me. I literally had just finished a game for another show the night before, and I was looking for something to play, so it just popped up and like perfect.
I didn't get to start it until about midway through April because moving plus getting Lego Lord of the Rings done for the podcast. So, and then work.
I was super excited. I haven't touched these games in like 15 years, probably.
Yeah, I was hoping to have a reason to go through it because I did, like I said, I did buy it because of the DLC stuff for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I wanted to try to play through it again. So I bought it like years ago. I don't know, a while ago, and yeah, I still haven't beat it, but I will eventually. I swear.
You should.
I mean, I'm close enough to the end where I'm just gonna probably slog through over the next 2 days and finish it.
You both,
doable.
got till December before we cover 2, so you got.
Once you get past the encephalon, you're good. Like
we're gonna do it.
It's easier than Gears for sure.
Yeah, we're doing 2 this year in December, end of December. So damn close to next year, but December.
I mean, end of December sucks though. I don't know if I'm going to be available. Like Christmas time is always the worst. So
we can always move it around a little bit if we need to.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
I was like, it's
a 20-hour RPG.
Try to get another Xeno.
Right.
Hey, how about we just all send our parts to the Undis Mundis? Come on, guys.
I really wanted to play the DS version of this because they did release like a Xenosaga 1 and 2 on DS that was different. That had like the kind of more. But I had a hard time.
3.
I was trying to get a ROM for it, and I could not find like an English one or one that.
Yeah, we had to figure something out for that.
And I
have a copy translated. By the way, guys.
The thing to talk about with because that is important because as the story goes, this game is like disc 1 of what the game was supposed to be.
Yeah,
sure.
And so they cut the second half of the game for various reasons, probably because Namco wanted them to just get on with it, which I have my beef with, but whatever. And then Xenosaga 1 and 2 and DS kind of recombines 1 and 2 together to kind of tell the story as it was meant to be, even though episode 2 doesn't contain all of the plot points that it was meant to, because they cut that one down further still.
Yeah,
it's a whole other bag of beans.
I alluded to this in the messenger, but that's because of Takahashi's ambition. Like, you gotta love the fact that he dreams big, but dreams and reality don't necessarily mix, especially when you're dealing with video games, movies, stuff like that, and the production times leading into those.
I still cannot sympathize with Namco's situation because they knew what they signed up for.
Right, they knew what they signed up for. But a lot of the reason going into 3 was the new ownership because, they merged with Bandai. So new bosses, new philosophy. So it's not like Namco was really beholden to the original deal they made with Takahashi. We're lucky we even got 3 at that point. I
mean, just for the first one itself being cut up the way that it was, like,
oh yeah,
all Takahashi really had to do is look at point to Metal Gear and be like, "Hey, do you want this? Let me make my thing."
He was dreaming beyond Metal Gear, though.
Oh, sure, but that's the easiest plot point or the other product to point to be like, "I'm gonna make that, but an RPG."
Right.
This game is epic in a lot of ways, but it also is one of the things for me that was really hurting me in this game, I think is why as a kid I wasn't as into it, is there's too many cutscenes. And I was upset that there was I wanted to just grind at times. And I don't know if it wasn't for a guy telling me at one point, they're like, "Oh, hey, you need money to buy upgrades for your mechs," and I'm like, "I don't have money." They're like, "We know that. Here, go to your save point here that has a certain EX over it. Then you can go and warp to an old area and fight enemies." And I'm like, man, young Mike would not have put this 2 and 2 together easily.
You gotta invest in stuff, right? To get your payback.
Yes.
You gotta invest in email.
Do that. I didn't get
time out real quick. Did you guys use the eggs? Because you don't.
I tried to.
You should.
What eggs?
What?
Yeah, there's
The
Eggs. Yeah.
there's some fights where your
AWGS. Eggs.
Oh, you mean the
AGWS.
the
Eggs.
scales?
Gears.
AGWS.
Gears.
transmit eggs.
No, they're eggs. They say eggs literally
Yes.
in the game.
Right.
Momo
They
says
do.
eggs.
I
It
say
was,
Max.
I think it was
You mean what I had for breakfast this morning?
Literally, yeah.
I had eggs actually this breakfast this morning.
the part where you get like Momo and Ziggy on the ship and you're getting attacked by all the guys. Like there was a boss there that was kind of having a hard time with on the ship. And I looked online. It's like use your eggs, and it's like they're all like half dead, and I don't know how to repair them. So
that is the really weird thing in the game is that they do not give you anything.
I just
for,
grind
like-
it and beat it without them.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, you can't, once you die in them, you can't revive that character during combat, so it's
Exactly,
better to
what the
never
fuck?
use the
That is so
never
fucked.
use the
Can't get
eggs
out
in
of
the
it.
game.
So-
Literally it is. I beat it
So what
100%.
the way
didn't
that
use
I
them
went
once.
into it, the way that I went into battles where I ended up having to use the eggs is watching their HP. If it got to like and watching how much damage the bosses are doing or the enemies are doing, and if it got to the point where 2 more hits would kill me of their toughest attack, I hop out of it. And so I wasn't treating them as this super powerful force to like end a battle. I used it as a buffer essentially.
Which you,
A
yeah.
buffer to put out some damage.
And they don't even blow up. They just stand there and do nothing when you run out of HP.
Right.
Like, okay. Like at least like kill my character or something. I guess it still counts as that because if everybody else dies, it's a game.
Right.
But they just stop moving, and it's like, okay.
That feels unfinished.
Well, they had to spend a lot of money to put other death animations in the game, so maybe they didn't have enough for that one.
Couldn't have animations for your own fucking mechs or scales or gears or whatever you're gonna call them.
I'm just gonna call them gears or mechs. Eggs is awful sounding. I don't care. That's what they're called.
Man, I just love saying eggs, though. It's the dumbest. AWGS. How's that eggs? It's like
No,
at
it's
least, right?
AGWS.
AGWS, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Advanced Gear Weapon System.
Yeah.
What were they originally called
Oh.
in
Yeah,
Xeno
advanced
X?
gear.
Well, it's the anti-gnosis weapon system, but
Oh, anti-gnosis weapon system.
They weren't
There you
very
go.
good
Yeah,
against Gnosis, though.
no, they weren't.
No.
For
See,
being
they were
an
gears and
anti-gnosis
gears.
weapon,
They were
for being an
dolls and then skells and X.
Yeah.
for being an anti-gnosis weapon, they really did not do a good job until the gnosis phased in. But once that happened, regular bullets worked just fine.
That's the secret, is that your characters are probably more equipped to handle most of the bosses than the eggs are.
Bingo.
I didn't use the mechs
Right.
very often because the guides like don't use them most of
Yeah.
the time.
Literally.
So, and
It's
I
one
was
of the
using
weirdest,
different guides.
like, it's one of the weirdest things, like, you can do this if you want to. We're not going to stop you. But, like, there's no reason to.
Right.
To me, that's weird.
I mean, there are a couple. Like I said, there are a couple fights where it comes in handy. The Gorgon fight at the once you get to the end of right before you go to the Song of Nephilim.
Yeah,
It
when you're
comes in
saving
handy.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes in handy there against the golem because you got the 2 different things that you have to fight: one ether weakness, one physical weakness. So if you take out the ether one first, then you can throw like Xion into her eggs. As long as you've got like 2 melee weapons equipped, you defend and then W attack right away and do probably, if I remember correctly, I was doing like 1,500 damage with that.
Wow.
So 2 of those and it's done.
I don't remember how I beat it. I mostly just did what the Prima official guy told me to do for most of this game. So that's how I.
So
mostly.
let's go through the story a bit, because I do think the story is interesting. I
Try.
do think it does a lot of really interesting like setup stuff. Because like it starts out like it kind of has the flashback to the past with like the founding of the Zohar on Earth, I guess, and then like what happens.
Oh yeah, the
And it's
Zohar.
like,
I recognize that from every fucking Xenoblade Chronicles game there is. It's in all of the other ones. I just saw it.
Oh,
I
it's in all those too?
I beat Xeno
Yeah.
X, and I saw it in that too at the end. So
And then
that thing. I remember that.
and it goes forward 4,000 years into the future.
Oh yeah, that
And
intro.
then-
The intro.
yeah.
Intro is kinda, where they're like,
Right.
where they're like, whatever you call them, like they're like
Straight out of The Exorcist.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or like,
And then it starts out on the Waglinde, which is a ship that is either a fleet of or paid for partially by Vector, which is like this huge robotics company, and you play as Xion, the chief engineer of the Cosmos project.
Yep.
And Cosmos
Which
is
they
like,
never tell you what Cosmos stands for.
I think don't they do it in the encyclopedia?
What encyclopedia?
There's an encyclopedia in the UMN for every turn in the game.
yeah, and the
It's
emails.
really
like, the
deep
database
too,
or
like
whatever they call
so deep.
They take like random phrases that people say and explain what they mean.
Yeah,
There's too
it's
much to
nuts.
this game. and it's not.
It's like Dune.
Kind
It's
of
got the
fun.
glossary at the end of the book. You just got to look.
Yeah,
at
like it's just there's too much. There's too much story. Here, play as these two characters in a place where you can't level, you can't grind, have fun. Story. Like
you
too
can
much.
technically grind. You just got to leave a room and then come back into a room and fight the guys again.
But if
and leave
you
the
can't
room, come back into the
go
room,
to an
fight
inn,
again, leave the room, fight it,
or go to a
I did
shop,
that.
that's not grinding then. Because yes, this time I knew how the game played, so I had 99 shelters or whatever the hell they call the resting thing.
Biospheres.
But like when I played this as a kid, I don't in most RPGs I don't buy 99 until I'm at that point where I'm just grinding for no reason at all, and I have. Otherwise, you could get screwed in this game, and I think that's what happened to me when I played this as a kid. Is I screwed myself because I didn't understand this game because it's a very different RPG for the time.
I will defend the cutscenes in the story because I think that's what makes it what it is. I love how deep it goes.
Yeah, I'll defend it too because I'm a Star Ocean fan, and like this is
I do love how
mediocre
deep
comparatively.
Like I do love how deep this game goes. Like everybody here knows about my love for Xenogears, and this kind of hits that same switch for me. And so I'm probably going to have to give it another playthrough or 3 to truly understand everything that's going on.
I mean, yeah, yes.
No.
And like, yeah, there's segments where there's like 50 minutes of cutscenes, and that can be a lot. But like, I don't know. I just sit back and watch it.
At least they let you save in the middle of them.
That's true.
In order,
whenever I wanted to.
I'm saying for
right with emulators, I can save whenever I want. But like, in order for me to truly understand this game on the first playthrough, I would have to sit there and take notes. And who's got that kind of time? Yeah, and you still would.
You should do a podcast about it so other people can explain it to you.
You got to play through it at least 10 times before you fully understand it.
Yeah, pull
I did
Oh,
start playing along with Resident
like
Arc.
these.
Yeah, so if you want to do that too, you can go with Retrograde, and they've got a 38 episode season on this game.
My God.
Yeah,
Do people tune in for stuff like that?
Yeah, they've got a pretty good following.
The Xenosaga.
I mentioned during Xenogears, Resonant Arc has a 23 episode, 2 hours apiece series on Xenogears. With this one, they only did 10. So,
as a guy who makes a podcast every week, I would not want to talk about the same game for that long.
I mean, if you think about it, how many cutscenes are there in Xenogears? It's just you're advancing text boxes, so it doesn't feel the same.
I prefer that.
I think in Xenogears, though, if you go back after certain flags hit in the game, that dialogue changes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of the higher, the 38 episode seasons, that's what they focus on.
You get some of that in this as well, where, I mean, this reminded me of like the Xenoblade games later, where it's like, some of it has voices, some of it doesn't. And just because, I don't know, like sometimes it's just,
the 3 levels of cutscenes.
Sometimes you just have to you just got to read a dialogue and hit the 0 button, or sometimes you get to watch it. Like that's how Xenoblade 3 was a lot like that too, where it's like some of it's big cutscenes, some of it's smaller cutscenes, some of it's even small. It's like there's different levels.
Yeah,
just kind
I prefer no cutscenes. I found out.
I like the cutscenes when they worked, when they didn't destroy, when it didn't like completely grind to a halt. I like.
I feel bad that your copy is doing that to you.
It might be the PS2.
Yeah, like I said, I've had the PS2 for I don't know how long. I think I got it when the gold version of Metal Gear Solid 3 came out, like Subsistence or whatever. So whenever that was probably how long.
Oh, that was a while ago.
Okay, don't quote me on this, but I think if you can change your PS2 disc speed, that will help.
Oh yeah, I
believe that is.
I think that only works on. Yeah, I think if you're using the actual console, I think that only works on PS1 games.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah. But yeah, so the first part of the game is you're on the ship and you're hanging out with Cosmos doing her activation tests. And there's a lot of talk about, like, I don't know if she's ready yet. Shion's pretty indecisive and all that.
And then Shion just out of nowhere is like, let's go to the 400 series tests. Like, completely skipping 300.
Because she believes in Cosmos. She wants Cosmos to succeed and do well, but she's haunted by things that happened before.
By her killing people before.
Yeah, lots of people.
One thing I actually really liked.
Oh, that kills people.
One thing I really liked from the beginning of it, like when I was first started playing it, like, you got to walk around this fucking huge ass ship and there's no map. You don't know where to go. I got lost constantly. Yeah. And, you got to go all the way to the bridge and then you got to come all the way back to your room or whatever and go to bed. And I was like, this is dumb. You should be able to just skip from one thing to another. But what I did appreciate about it is like if you like pay attention and like explore stuff, it all matters later when you get attacked by the nodes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You know how to shut the doors, and you got to be able to run around away from the guys. And I thought that was really cool. I was
You know
like,
how to
oh,
turn on the
okay,
holodeck
well,
TV to distract the one.
Yeah, the holodeck TV too. And yeah, it was like I was like, oh, okay, all this stuff I found really annoying actually kind of makes sense now. But it was.
It would still have been nice if they had a fucking map.
They have
I
an
would've-
invisible
oh,
map
yeah.
at the bottom.
I w-
It doesn't really tell you a whole lot. Does that count?
No, it's just dots. There's no like walls or whatever. I mean, I guess like in the whatever in the main ship you're in, the Elsa or whatever it's called. Like there is a map you can look at there, but only in like one spot.
Yeah.
There are maps in the environments of the Woglinde you can like click on
Yeah.
and see where
And
things are.
that's what I mean. Like you can go to a specific place and
Yeah.
look at the map, but
But
if
why
you're
can't I have a
lost-
map in my
lost.
menu?
That's very fair.
And I got lost a lot. Where it took me forever to find the fucking catapult in that one in the one ship. Where I was
Same.
like, where was that again?
Yeah.
And I was walking in fucking circles, and I ended up having to look it online because I'm like, I feel like I've been walking around this ship for the past like 2 hours, and I don't know where the fuck I'm going.
I mean, and
This is definitely-
let's be fair. They designed these as levels, not as ships.
Well, that's
I mean,
Like if I were a game designer, I don't care if I'm doing an entire game based on the ship. I'm gonna design it like it's a ship, not like it's a video game level.
sure.
You can work within those bounds.
I don't think video games do that a whole lot.
It depends, I guess, on like what the game is and where they were in development when they had to figure this stuff out.
Right.
Because I think
Right,
yeah,
but
stuff like the Durandal and stuff are more designed as ships.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like the Woglinde and the Elsa were definitely not designed as ships. They were designed as full-on video game levels.
You would think that would make it a little less, I don't know,
Maybe if
less hard to get
It had
through.
a-
Like if they had a little bit more direction, being like, it's like go here. I'm like, where's that? It's like I don't know. It's like okay, cool.
You just
I don't know.
gotta
figure it out
know.
yourself.
Just walk around
Right.
a lot until the cutscene happens. Okay, I mean that
Yeah,
is a lot
no,
of.
this
decent
game was
time, I guess.
confusing a lot of
Yeah.
times. If it wasn't for the guide, I would have really struggled with what to do because the guide was able to explain a lot of things to me that the game just chose not to.
Yeah, I use
That
the guide.
annoyed me.
I use the guide somewhat, but I mean, I get more enjoyment from not having to.
Yeah.
Use it. I don't like just constantly looking at a guide. I like to
That's
just
how you beat a
had
game
experience
of
on my own. But so
Right.
I'm more looking at a guide for like boss tips or like something that I'm like
yeah,
missing in that
exactly.
point.
When you get stuck
Well,
on
yeah,
it,
my-
I look at it, but I want it to be able to just kind of walk through it naturally and not.
Or God, like
Yeah,
where the fuck is this segment
right, my
address? I can't
philo-
remember.
My philosophy is I'm going to try to figure it out myself, and if I beat my head against it a couple of
Yeah.
times, then I'll look at a guide.
Yeah, I do the same thing, but I like there to be a lot of time where I can just kind of figure it out on my own.
Yeah, usually I
I
just use
prefer
the
that.
checklist
I don't
for
want to
items.
constantly look online and be like, "What's this? What's the?"
I
Right.
don't with all
Be able
games,
to
but this
play it.
was a game where I felt like I needed to have a guide on me at all times.
I did about halfway through the amount that I played. I was on the IGN guide because it was just like a page per area or whatever, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like spoilery. It was just like go here, go here, go here, and I'm like, okay, let's just do that because I was kind of trying to power through it at that point. So I did end up getting to there.
Well, this is a tough one to power through. Like I said earlier, I
Yeah.
play a lot of games, and this one was beating me down, and that's not normal.
Well,
Normally
yeah,
I'm
and you
fine.
can't just
It's almost
Like,
almost
yeah,
slower
exactly.
than Terrascasi.
normally with RPGs, I can just flow right through it, maybe do a little bit of grinding at the end, and have no problem beating the game, even if I'm what some people would consider severely under level, because I understand how to use the game's systems to my advantage. But in this game, you don't really have that option. Like you got to spend some time investing in exploring your surroundings, defeating all the enemies that you can encounter in order to keep pace.
Even the grinding that I did initially, I was like, "Oh, this is really going to help me." It didn't.
Nope.
Yeah, the only thing that helps is when you get like times 10 TP points against a boss,
Yeah.
and then like the game's
Yeah.
over at that point.
Like I was
Best time to
leveled
try-
like 9 in Shion until like in the Woglinde. I like surely this will come in handy, but no.
Oh, yeah,
No,
speaking
The
of-
best times to grind I have found in this game are in the Encephalon.
Yeah.
Once you start seeing like golems and bugbears. And then anytime you see Gnosis after that, that's the best time to grind. Because that's where you're going to get a lot of TP, EP, and SP. And, like once you start getting things lining up, now you can start getting those bonus points for beating enemies.
And I'd say the other suggestion too, get your speed up for your attacks first. That helps
Yes.
a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
Then the
Speed-
weight, and then once you have the ones you like, put all your points into stats. Every single point into stats.
Uh-huh.
And you will destroy the game by the end of it.
I felt kind of
Yep.
that was on like the subject of T points and E points, and there's a lot of shit, and I I mean, maybe I just missed it. Does it tell you about all this so you can upgrade your
Not-
spells or
No,
whatever?
absolutely
Not really.
Expect you to
You
find
have
it.
to go. You have to go inside the Undis Mundus.
Just gotta go into the menus and fuck
It's
around.
very dense, but it's like, I mean, that's kind of like every every Xeno type game. But yeah, it was like,
Right, because Xenogears
It's like,
didn't
you gotta do this,
Xenogears didn't
this,
explain death blows to you.
Yeah, but death blows are one thing.
yeah.
Right.
I feel like when you learn that T points are upgrading your character stats as well if you wish, that's like 3 levels deep.
Yeah.
Aside from just leveling up, you got to do that, and you got to do like your ether stuff too, and like there's like just everything has its own like points to let
And then you
the
can-
skills. It's just like things upon things upon things.
You can send spells with
Right.
ether to other people. I just found things by
that too.
just playing in the menu, and that's not
Yeah.
how I like to learn things.
Or like pulling skills from items you can equip or whatever. There's like just all this shit you can do. And
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
too much.
I didn't feel like it really. If it explained it, I missed it.
I missed
See,
too.
if this was an 80-hour RPG, these systems would make more sense.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it
I'm
was close.
happy.
Like, just tell me how many skill point experience I need for the next level. Don't make me randomly guess. Like that would have
Right.
been nice. Easy stuff like that.
But it was also very linear how skill points unlock, because I felt there was only so many level 1 and so many level 2s.
That might have
And if
been
you-
it. Maybe that's
If you didn't
yeah.
get them, you're fucked. Like, if you
Yeah.
don't get them and you don't have them unlock them, you're just kind of fucked.
Yeesh. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
the level 2 ones I had enough where I could pick and choose to get to level 3, but maybe the level 1s
Yeah.
I didn't.
Like, because I
level
had
one
like
was
equipped
got-
some level 2s and I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, level 1, it's you pretty much have to hit everything. I think you can miss like 150 points worth of all the level 1 skills, but level 2, you definitely have a lot more free form.
I think you can buy all the level 1 accessories
You
too
can,
at some
yeah.
point in the game. Yeah.
I bought
Yeah.
a lot of items that I didn't have once I realized that, just so I could have it.
So there's a
It was
lot of
still-
different systems.
So complicated game. It's too complicated for my taste.
And there's a lot to admire too, like how like every character's like ether attacks are like different, and they're designed to make those characters like very specific roles. Like
Mhm.
Ziggy's ether is all designed to be for him.
But the nice thing is, though, is you can give characters more like
Oh, yeah.
some of the universal ones. Like I had Shion give everybody Medica if they didn't have a single target healing attack.
Right.
Not just because healing is just useful, but because there's enemies later in the game that you can only damage by healing, and why waste the item when you can
That
just burn
pissed
a
me
couple?
Yeah.
I ran from them until I had to fight one to clear a room because I didn't have a choice. And the guy's like, "You got to use healing." I'm like, "This is bullshit."
That happens in Final Fantasy though.
Happens
Well,
in
I
some
mean,
years too.
For like the zombies and stuff, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but it didn't make sense here. They
I
weren't
mean, there-
undead.
There's
They were
that-
larvae dolls, which doesn't really equate to zombies, but
There's that one that you run into in like Cosmos' brain or whatever, and I couldn't figure out how to damage them, and then all my characters just became confused, and they ended up just running away on their own, and then it never came back, and I never got to fight it again because it's just disappeared after that. So like, okay,
amazing.
but yeah, they just ended up leaving on their own because they were confused, and I can't control them anymore.
You got lucky then. Like you definitely got lucky then.
There's some really annoying fights in this.
Yeah, because they won't bounce out of it, right? If once you get confused, you'll just be confused forever.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Yep. This ain't your dad's Final Fantasy when it comes to confusion.
Yeah, it won't eventually go away in like turns, or whatever. I know.
No.
There are some RPGs that will also soft lock it so that you can't have everyone be confused.
Not this game.
Yeah, not this one.
No, this one has problems.
Takahashi was like, "Fuck it, let them eat cake." Like,
I will again say I think this game really just is unfinished.
I think that's a very fair statement too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
The story also kind of feels unfinished too, where it just kind of like gets to a point. I mean, yes, it's a decent like ending in a way, but it feels like stuff is missing for sure.
It's like in Xenogears, if you just didn't get to go to what's the name of the city in the sky?
Solaris.
Shabbat or Solaris.
Yeah, like it just didn't get to Solaris, like it just ended before that, or it ends when you get shot down.
Does the ending like feel super abrupt or like super cliffhangery at the end?
It's just like
No.
you do stuff and then you get to the end and it's like, oh, I guess this is the big moment. All right.
I mean,
It really feels like a disc one. If they didn't do all the pomp and circumstance, it would definitely be a disc one ending.
you fight the fucking weirdo albedo that you see with little dolls throughout the game that turns out is Junior's other half of himself or some. I don't even understand what the hell I was playing. So
Liquid.
So what I gathered from that is that essentially Junior split himself into two different beings. You have Albedo, which is his darker half, and you have Gaiden or Negrito, who is his lighter half. Which is funny because with the three of them make up the three different components of alchemy. You have the Albedo, which is the light, Negrito, which is the dark, and Rubido, which is the true self. And so it's funny that they swapped the personalities between the colors, but essentially they're all the same person.
Episode 2 does go deep into explaining the relationship between all of them, so that definitely will come up soon.
Okay,
there's
good.
more than that.
There's more going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too much. And none of these characters, for me, other than Cosmos, stand out at all to me. I don't like any of them but her.
Yeah.
Not
She's the only character I like.
Shion's great.
Cosmos is the worst.
What about
like each character has their own thing for me that causes me to like and dislike them. Like you have Shion, who like is hyper intelligent, hyper focused for the most part.
She's a mess.
Super
Over Alan.
Right. Well, to be fair though, everybody shits all over Alan.
Alan is true. Absolutely.
Part of the game.
He doesn't. Yeah. He
Like
sucks.
everybody shits all over Alan. And Alan, it's funny because he's trying to be the nice guy, and he's always the one that that doesn't believe in coincidence. Everybody else like, oh, this happened. Huh. Alan's like, wait, what? This happened and then this happened. What the hell's going on?
But he's also kind of racist.
He's one of like my favorite, weirdly, John Everymans in a game where like he's clearly the guy who doesn't belong in the game like the normal player would, and just has all this extraordinary crap happening around him.
Right. Right.
That's what he's there for.
He's in love with his boss, and that's just his character arc for that game.
That worked really
well,
for sure.
I mean, wasn't he
Right,
like
and
ready to give up when they got the Durandal? He's like, they got mini bars here. We don't need to worry about anything else. Let's just stay here.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, but so like I said, Shion has her ditziness though. And then she also has the whole I'm going to hide what I really know and could expound, and it's information that could expound on what's going on. I'm going to hide it from everybody, thus exacerbating the
These are
problem.
corporate secrets.
Yeah.
Right.
We got to build to
Right.
it.
She also has Faye syndrome, where she sees things and time stops sometimes randomly. You know.
Like
So
Zach
what
Morris.
the hell is up with the... Because they purposely show you that cross from Xenogears and go, hey, look at the pretty object. You remember this? You remember this? And then they go, nah, we're not going to talk about it anymore.
Right.
I don't understand why that's there.
Again, that's just Takahashi throwing in things that he loves. So it's, you know, like it doesn't have any callback to Xenogears that I could find, at least.
That's the
I mean,
problem.
the characters are all callbacks, more or less.
Yeah, heavily disagree.
I mean,
There's
the
a
battle-
lot of
the battle
Xenogears
system kinda
callbacks.
with the.
Oh, there's a lot of Xenogears callbacks, but nothing to do with that cross.
Oh, okay, fair.
Like we can play the game of pin the tail on who's who from
Yeah.
Xenogears. Like
Yeah, we can.
we got
Well, I mean-
Nephilim looks like Ellie, but Shion probably is more of an Ellie.
Billy and Jr.
No, Shion is more of a Saitan mixed with Faye.
But Saitan has a visual representation in Jin, who we don't really meet in this game.
Right. But I'm saying, like, as far as personality goes,
I mean,
Shion is definitely a Saitan when it comes to
Yeah.
tech.
they have
but
the same
has
last
the
name.
aloofness-
They
right.
do have the same
She
last
has
name.
the aloofness of Faye.
Yes.
They're the same. They have the same last name. They're supposed to be.
I didn't even...
Yeah, Billy and Junior, Momo, and
Well, no,
Emeralda in a
Junior's
sense.
a cross. Yeah, Billy is a cross between Bart or Junior's a cross between Bart and Billy.
Yes.
Like, it seems like he kind of took two archetypes from each character, two different, like, it seems like what he did is took his Xenogears characters, broke them down into various things that make them tick, or like archetypes, and then assign them to characters. Because you don't get Bart's brashness with Junior, you get his command presence, though. And then with Billy, you don't get his shyness, but you do get his love for guns and sense of purpose.
Yes.
Always like a character with guns in an RPG. So I did.
Oh, absolutely.
I have
which I like Billy a lot too from Xenogears. So
When I was 13, I had the worst crush on Junior. I wish I had seen it back then, but like looking back.
you love the big earring that he has, the big shiny earring.
See,
Right.
okay, here's the thing. To me, Junior is super queer coded,
Sure.
but like the game does not allow that at all because they very much paint him as like kind of a womanizer, but kind of not. However much they
Even
can get
though he
away
was
with.
13.
However much they can get away with.
He gets a
Right.
little. It gets a little weird with Momo, right?
Well, they're not weird. Like everyone assumes because she looks 12 as well.
Mhm.
But it is Guinan that has Mary and Shelley casually in bed in his office.
Right. Even though they're sisters. Although, does it really count if they're sisters if they're Realians?
Probably not.
And I know there is at least one NPC that gets dating advice from Junior as well.
Of course. I mean, how old is he? He looks
funny.
young, but isn't he supposed to be like he's older than Guinan, right? Didn't he say that in the game?
He did.
He's definitely older than Guinan.
Yeah,
Because they flat out say that in the game.
So again, the things that will be talked more about in episode 2.
Yeah.
But
That's
he
a weird
looks like he's
fucking
12,
name.
but he is older.
Yeah, I would say how old is he supposed to be?
I also really
Which-
don't like
Right.
the Gnosis in this game.
Like the design? Some of them are
Everything
weird. They have
about them. When I was a kid, I feel like this
You
creeped
got
me
the
the
ones
fuck
with the
out.
giant dongs that you got to fight. They're weird too. The big penis ones you fight pretty early.
It's
This wasn't
just-
as bad as Shadow Hearts, but it's pretty bad.
I mean, they got giant penises though. Like they really do. On
Shadow
that
Hearts
first-
had giant
Hard to know.
penises.
Yes, Shadow Hearts had giant penises.
You could just come in and punch them straight on, but it's like I was like, does anybody think that this isn't like on purpose here? Like, come on.
What's the what? Like, I don't even understand what the Gnosis are. They're like some alien race that are just.
They are this weird invincible alien race that is attacking humanity and is slowly, turning them into salt. That just breaks, and then they're no more.
Yep. And the salt portion actually has symbolism.
Are they
Like,
using it for the
so again, this kind of goes back to the study of alchemy, where in alchemy you have the three components of the self that I talked about. Now you have the three components of the person, which is salt, sulfur, and mercury. Mercury I'm trying to remember exactly what it is, but mercury and sulfur end up making like the emotional and mental state, and salt is just the pure physical. So they're literally just husks in this world.
And they've gotten to the point where they're able to use Cosmos and other Realians to put them in the spatial plane that humans can interact with them.
Yep.
Just the way they murder them in the opening, just they make them a terrifying villain thing for this. And I think when I got to Cathedral, I think that's one reason I quit playing, because I was like, yeah, I can't level. I don't like this game. So, I mean, I didn't need to at that point. Since I knew about you could go back and revisit old areas through the little, which is strange as hell. Like, it's nice that it's there because that's the way for you to grind. But I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like this idea. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna go back in time through a projector. Like,
it's not back in time. It's just all in the UMN. It's just all data.
It's a VR program.
It was
I do like that. I do like that aspect. Like, don't get me wrong. I love the days of like the Super Nintendo, PlayStation era RPGs where you had a world map and you were able to travel from city to city. But what I didn't like is if I needed to go all the way back across the world and didn't have the ability to fly, like, is there some way I can just get from point A to point Z without having to go through B, C, D, etc.?
No, it's a nice thing. There's something about it that rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, I was just rubbed the wrong way all the time with this game, so.
No, it's fair. And a big thing, too, harkening back to that, is this also did give you the gate keys, so you did have to go back and unlock those doors if you wanted to get the bonus content.
Yeah.
So, it does make sense for the collectible aspect, and that's one of the better parts of JRPGs for me.
I did think that was
kind of for sure.
Where it's like here, and then you have it's like, all right, you gotta, and you that's how you get the magical robot or whatever. At the end,
want to do that, Trey. If you're gonna beat this game,
Everyone loves
Kaiser.
I figured. I mean, that's why else would you be collecting robot parts if it doesn't come to some big cool thing that you can use in the game?
you get essentially a spell that does 9,999 damage. You can only be used once per battle.
Yeah, I mean,
which apparently just destroys most of the bosses in the game.
Oh yeah, it is so high. It is so up there.
For one,
I would
maybe two.
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
figured
one.
towards the end I would try to do that, even though there was one door that I could not get open because it would freeze every time I interacted with it. So
yikes.
Maybe I just can't do it on my copy of the game. So yeah.
So one thing I wanted to talk to Trey about specifically, the investment minigame, I thought was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
The email stuff where you things. Yeah,
because I'm like, oh, this is from X.
Yeah, sort of. Well, I mean, but X, they give you more of a chance to do it, and you can try different ones. And if you miss it, like for a certain amount of time, you can't go back and do it. Like, or if you don't have the money, like at that particular point when it asks you to like invest in it, you can't do it, right? If you do it later. So, but I did like it. But I was like, I looked at a guy, and they're like, oh, because I invested in one, they gave me like $10,000. Like, well, if you would have invested in this other one, you would have got this Cosmos weapon. And I'm like, okay, I don't know that.
Right.
Yeah, you don't know what you're gonna know. The game don't tell you.
and I can't do anything. I can't go back and change it. Aside,
Well, that's fate, right?
I'd have to load an old save or whatever. But I mean, it's like, at least in X, you just have infinite time to just constantly put all your resources into whatever company and unlock stuff. But this one's like you gotta. I guess you got to play through it multiple times, right? So hey,
I believe in Dawson Pharmaceuticals. Okay, they're on the rise.
Yeah.
But there was that, and the emails were sometimes annoying, but sometimes really weird and really interesting.
I mean, my favorite when they told me I should buy Soul Calibur 2 coming out soon. That was my favorite.
I had Ace Combat 4.
My favorite was Ace Combat 4. Yep, Ace Combat 4.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I did think. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like MoogleNet kind of like that, and Final Fantasy IX or whatever that had emails.
Yeah.
It did not take the opportunity to advertise other SquareSoft products, though.
It should have. It was,
no, that was
they were wrong. They were not doing that. I thought it was kind of funny, actually, the advertisement stuff. And I did there's like a shop that has Pac-Man's head on there, which you see a lot of Pac-Man appearances in Bot and Kaitos too. So I was kind of
I mean, Namco products. So
I'd experienced that before.
I don't mind little touches like that. Those just make me laugh.
I also love the soft launching of Bunny as a little mascot.
Oh, yeah.
Bunny come back?
Kind of around, I feel like, but not. This is the only game I feel like where it matters.
Oh, I was unaware of the characters. I was just curious if that meant something.
Just a little rabbit guy that just hops around.
Yeah, and you see him. There's like the crushed statue of him, when you go in the Cosmos Brain level or wherever I was. There's like
that
a
was
fallen
weird,
statue of him.
Yeah.
And he has a little house you have to reference to come out of.
I thought it was supposed to be.
Yep.
Leon really liked him or something, and that's like, oh, here's your broken favorite kid thing or whatever. It's your lost.
I mean, it's the closest we get to like an animal character in the game, which is a nice change.
Oh sure.
Well, especially because we didn't have there was no Choo Choo in this game.
Right.
Fine.
I mean, to be fair, Momo does have the mentality of Choo Choo.
I never use Momo.
If I had.
Yeah, none of the.
I do on occasion. I do when I'm forced to, like the Encephalon. That's pretty much like about the only time I've had to use Momo outside of
Encephalon, Pleroma.
Who
having
did everybody use?
Oh, I would do Xion and Junior, and then either Ziggy or Cosmos, depending.
It depended on what
Xion Junior, and then Chaos or Cosmos, depending.
It kind of depended on what level you were in, because some attacks did better damage than others, so I kind of switched it around. But I always use Xion.
Like if Cosmos is available, I'm always using Cosmos, just because she has some of the best tech attacks in the game, even if one of them is extremely disturbing.
Which one is that?
The X-Buster, or as I like to call it, the Cosmussy.
Sure.
Like, it's a little disturbing.
This game gets very disturbing at times.
Yeah. So, but that attack just wrecks everything.
It does.
Yeah,
and it also has like the highest like requirement when you want to like put it on your second attack command.
Yep.
Like Xion, Chaos, and Junior, and like it was really not that bad getting through the game with.
Chaos definitely has his moments in battle. Like he is a great all around character as far as fighting goes, because he's got everything you want. He's got his ether attacks that you can eventually level into the elemental ones, and then get one that is non-elemental that hits everybody. He's great with his fists, and he can heal one or all. So
he can
heal one unless you give him Metacon.
Xion can't.
I gave him Metacon.
I did.
I would always use I would use the Xion.
He might be too, at least in this game, the only level-headed character.
Oh yeah, he's enigmatic as fuck. He's enigmatic as fuck, but he's level-headed.
Who's the guy in Xenoblade 1? What's that guy's name? That's just like Chaos. Mr. White-haired, wispy voice.
Oh shit, I don't remember. I will say what it's not Rain or Shulk or
no, he's not a playable character.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
But he talks to Shulk quite a bit.
Couldn't tell you.
I haven't played Xenoblade, so over my head.
Same here. I might play Xenoblade 1 next year. We'll see.
I mean, isn't that what we're working up to here? If you want to keep going with the Xeno stuff, you gotta get there.
Those games,
right?
If I can beat Xenoblade in 2 weeks, that'll be an interesting quest.
Good luck with that.
Right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
At least like now they can put all, instead of having 1, 2, and 3. They can
Alvis.
put all in one.
That's the one I'm looking for.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
In the later ones, you could just instead of having like 3 40-hour RPGs, you can have 1 200-hour one. You don't need.
These are all meant to be super long RPGs, but
I mean,
Well, I would say
hours.
just based on the hour count. Yeah, 40 hours does not make a long RPG, especially when you got games that take upwards of 80, 90 hours.
Well, yeah, I think
like
I was saying, Gears was cut down due to ambition, and that probably went from like 80 hours to 60. And if this is disc one, Xenosaga is supposed to be an 80-hour RPG as well.
Right. My fastest playthrough on Gears, not doing the side quest stuff, I would say is probably about 47 hours. But you skip a lot of shit, and you're not talking to a lot of NPCs. You really don't care about all that kind of stuff. But to truly experience Xenogears, you're looking at 85 hours.
Right. And like this has all the kinds of stuff that if you want to look for it, you can find it. Like the card game that I never interacted with.
I wouldn't touch it.
I couldn't figure out how to play the card game.
The Xenogears card game looks so much cooler.
Yeah,
I could figure out how to play that one, but yeah, I never really figured out how to do it on this one.
Well, I mean, that one's just speed.
Didn't try that hard.
And like, I haven't delved into the card game, but it actually looks like a full-on tabletop customizable card game. So could be interesting.
I didn't want to mess with that.
same.
I'm sure you can unlock stuff from it or whatever.
Nothing worthwhile, as far as I understand.
As far as like when this came out, how many games like didn't have random battles? Like I thought that was really cool that you could see the characters on the map before they attack you. Like
It depends how deep you get. Mystic Quest did that a long time ago.
This is a direct lineage from Chrono Cross.
Yeah, Luffy.
Well, I know like Chrono Trigger, but I'm talking about like 3D, like PlayStation 2 era games that had like enemies on the map.
Evolution for the Dreamcast.
Where you can go and hit them, before they
Played that.
before they come up to you.
Love Evolution for the Dreamcast. One of my favorite games.
Valkyrie Profile 2, which came out after this game, was like that, but it wasn't fully 3D though. It was a 2D platform.
Quest 64.
Not counting that one. I'm talking about good games. It was just really nice. It was just really nice to not fucking have random battles because I hate random battles.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was really.
No, I
nice.
totally.
I know when you're going to fight something or try to avoid it if you want to, which I didn't. I fought everything, but I mean, it was still like it's nice to know when you're not just like, oh, I did one, and then I'm trying to find where to go, and I'm getting attacked every 2 steps. Right.
It's not like you're stutter stepping through the world map because you get hit with a random battle every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes it's very much meant to be. You're supposed to fight this. There's no way around it.
Yeah, like when you're playing as Ziggy, and it's like, oh, you can sneak around these guys, and I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm fighting all of them. I know how these games work. I want to level up. Like this isn't fucking Metal Gear Solid. Like there's no point of me sneaking past them because then I won't get experience points. So fuck you.
Right.
Yeah, I killed everything I could because I wanted the experience points.
Yeah, exactly. Even though even though it did feel kind of low for the most part, but you said later it gets higher. I guess it depends on where
it gets. When you get the Song of Nephilim, that was around the time as I started getting higher levels. I started learning a few skills. I was able to get the speed with the skills where you essentially can do like triangle, then circle, and you can always do an ability whatever you put in a certain slot. So you can make the game. Right. That's how you play the end of this game, and it gets much better.
Well, and that, like I said, my experience is I was seeing a lot more point-wise for TP, EP, and SP in the Encephalon as soon as you started fighting like bugbears and gnolls.
Uh-huh.
Because like when in Song of Nephilim, you're not fighting Gnosis, so you're barely getting EP, which
you're getting.
I mean, depending upon how much you did grinding, as far as grinding, you might not need the EP. But if you're just flying through the game, you're still going to need that EP.
Well, whenever I got the chance to grind, I became a happy camper, and I would literally, a couple of times I would just like watching TV with my wife, and I'm just grinding away, or I was doing other things and just going back and forth and grinding, and I was the happiest could be because that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to fight. I didn't want to do I'm like, I don't want cutscenes. I just want to fight. You
were making up for being 15 and not grinding.
I think, this is one of those games where there was a deep, deep fear of getting stuck. Like, I normally don't track down a strategy guide and go bit by bit in the strategy guide besides horror games. I don't normally do that in RPG. Mm-hmm. I'll look up stuff later. It's like, I'll come back to it. I'm like, I don't know if I can come back to stuff in this game. So I was constantly leveling when I got the chance. Because I remembered when it was in 2003. I did not forget. I have a copy to the right of me. That same copy that I bought at Funkoland is to the right of me, still there. Like, been meaning to play this game for 20 years.
Right. And like I said, that's generally my approach is that I won't sit there and look at guides. But, I'm also not going to sit there and run from battles or anything like that unless I absolutely need to. So, I didn't really do much in the way of grinding. I just, it's like I did little bit of grinding in the Encephalon, just running back and forth. But otherwise, like I'm midway through Song of Nephilim at like level 26. So, and I'm not finding the game difficult.
Fair. I mean, if you know what you're doing, it probably isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was still having trouble, but that's me.
I was too. I also didn't switch characters like you guys were talking about. The guy would tell me, "Oh, you should use this character for this fight." I'm like, "Fuck that! I'm just using the same 3. I don't give a shit." Because
Well, that's generally my approach.
At least they
I
kind
mean,
of like
Junior, Momo,
at least they
Ziggy,
love
they could
fucking
all
you.
not level. Fuck them. I was like, you 3 just stay in the back. I could give a shit about
Oh,
you 3.
you're missing out by not using Junior.
Yeah, Junior's probably the best character in the game.
there is
Well,
still some, there is some kind of like auto leveling
Yep.
in there. Like if you don't use the characters, they still level up with everybody else, which is
A
really
little
nice.
bit, yeah.
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 Moonlight
We don't
I
get
mean,
all
they were
that
always
much
on the
stuff.
same. They were always on the same level when I was playing it. Even the ones I weren't using, they would still gain experience.
Yeah,
which is
but they don't gain TP, EP, or SP, so they're still gimps.
Yeah. So,
So, but like for instance, Junior, once you unlock a couple of his tech attacks, if you've got the TP, he just destroys everything in a couple of turns.
oh yeah,
Like, what's one of the skills? It's the coin one, and then there's the spirit blast that he does on the ground. Like those 2 attacks alone can clear out most minor enemies.
yeah. So continuing on with the story, there's another attack. Xion and Co. get off the wall Glende. They get picked up by another ship run by Captain Matthews and his freaky bunch. Meanwhile, Ziggy is another guy that's getting tasked with the mission to save Momo, and there's a whole thing about Ziggy being a cyborg that's like a relic in this day and age, and it's a very political, very episode 1 political kind of thing where he's getting assigned the task, and there's like a whole subcommittee that's talking to him.
Oh yeah, they had the Jedi Council there.
I was just about to say the Jedi Council.
I saw that.
Jack your head.
And I saw that, and I was like, oh, the Jedi Council. Yeah, that pretty looks like exactly the same, like the same seats and everything. And the
Yeah, one of them chain smokes.
I mean, I wish they would have had that in the prequels.
One of them is the wife of a extremist, religious scientist extremist.
And Yaddle
That's also kind of Momo's mother.
And you kind of find out he's a reason for a lot of the bad shit happening.
Who? Oh, yeah, Joachim Mizrahi. Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's also Helmer, who is like the big contact for Guinan and all of his doings as well.
Yep.
And those are like the 3 main ones. Everyone else is just kind of there.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how it was with the Jedi Council. You had Mace Windu, you had Yoda, and Kiadi Mundi, and then aside from Obi-Wan and Anakin, everybody else is just kind of there and rotated in and out.
Yeah. Interesting to see the prequels being like an inspiration for something, you know?
I know, right?
It's like, Ziggy does his mission. He gets Momo out of this prison planet, more or less. And then we learn more about the UTIC organization, which is this religious faction that is like coming up in power and is like has a lot of beef with what happened to Militia, which is this planet that kind of disappeared, and everyone has ties back to it.
Yep.
And then the rest of the game is kind of okay. Then we get Junior, and we learn about his kind of beginnings, and then everyone kind of meets up. And then I'm kind of glossing over a lot of it because the story sets up a lot of characters, introduces them all together, and then like the last bit of it is kind of like what happens next. It's a very weird structured story.
It is, yeah.
But it's the best way to tell it, to be like the best way to explain this story, because that's exactly what happens. Like there's a lot of random shit happening with all these characters that just come together. Like this is the D&D. Okay, so you're sitting in a tavern trope.
Yes, and like that happened in Xenogears too. Billy gets added into your party like pretty late comparatively.
Not really. Billy's like the character you recruit because you got like Faye, like there's blown up side Tan, Ari, Faye, aliens, Ellie depart Tan, get settings, get set, and they meet. So with this story, it's kind of all these things are happening at once. It's just like with Xenogears, it was more progressive timeline, whereas this game is A and B are happening, and then B and C kind of coincide with each other, and then C and A finally collide and drag B along with them.
Right. Like the little mission that Junior's doing on its own ends up being a big deal like a few hours later when it's used to doctor footage to frame the entire party.
That was an interesting take.
But that set up the whole narrative for having to jump into the Encephalon, which is really kind of where the story starts going forward.
Yes. We start learning about Militia and where Xion comes from, and Junior's whole thing with the URTVs, which are just child soldiers, more or less.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Metal Gear Solid callback.
And then we learn more about Albedo, which kind of becomes our Krellian, kind of our like major villain of the game. Like there's Marculus in the background. He's your graph. He's there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good way to
But it's more about Albedo in the end.
Yeah. Well, because that's exactly what happened in Xenogears. Graph is the background and doesn't really matter outside of the few fights that you have with him. And then Albedo's the one truly pulling the strings, even though it looks like it's Margulis that's pulling them.
Right.
Keyword looks like.
Right. And then it gets really, really dark.
Oh, yeah.
I damn what was going on at the end of this game. So if you want to explain it, please feel free.
So we get to the Foundation, the Kukai Foundation, which is like this kind of oasis meant to be for like mutants and other people that are facing adversity in other parts of the galaxy to come and hang out. That's what Guinan runs. Junior's there helping their brothers. And then the Foundation is overrun by Gnosis. And then there's a whole kind of level about saving a bunch of people that are attacked by Gnosis. And then as you get to the end of the level, Momo just gets kidnapped. Straight up.
Straight up kidnapped.
And then you find, and then
I knew as soon as we left her behind on Foundation while she was tending to that wounded person, I'm like, yep, she's gone. She's getting yoinked.
And then it's Albedo that does it, and then it just goes into like some of the most actually depraved cutscenes that actually establish a villain effectively.
Yeah, I've never been more excited to take on a villain outside of a few games than this one so far.
Oh,
just because of the way they set him up. Like, he's the easiest way you could describe him, he's got like the mentality of the Joker, but if the Joker actually had a plan.
Yeah. And like, he tortures Momo, he does a lot of shit to Momo, he just decapitates himself for fun.
Right.
Cuts off his own arm for fun, and then it all grows back.
Fucking strange ass.
Right.
For demonstration.
all while I believe he's quoting scripture at that point.
Yes.
Like legit quoting biblical scripture.
Some
So this is where the interesting differences between the Japanese and the American version come in. Is in the Japanese version, he has a knife in these scenes. He's literally cutting off his head, and they do some like black bar censoring to kind of like hide it. Mm-hmm. But in the American version, he just uses his hands.
Right, and they don't even show him ripping his head off, like because we don't want to upset Western audiences, even though this game is marketed for young adults and older.
Right. I mean, I think this game should have got an M rating either way.
Oh, for sure.
There's so much giblets and blood.
A lot of blood in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then after that, we get a bunch of scenes where Albedo is trying to get to the data that Momo has. That's like the entire point of the game is she has this really important data relating back to militia and everyone wants it.
Yep.
But like in the Japanese version,
the original Zohar.
Oh yes, all dates back to the Zohar. That's all going back to that. But in the Japanese version, he's literally putting his hand inside of her. Like if you've seen Evangelion, it's just like that.
Oh, wow.
And it's very much played as like an essay scene. But in the American version, he just puts his hand over her and there's just like a little shiny light. But she's still reacting the same way.
Okay, well, which is interesting because, the game did go through full-on translation. So.
And each game has its censorship points. And this one probably has the most interesting in that I don't know if they really help.
Well, because we still know the context of what's going on. That's the thing.
I mean, there's context for each of them.
Mm-hmm. Like we understand the full context of what's going on. Essentially, like even if he's not putting his hand inside Momo in the American version, he's essentially raping her in a way.
Yes, and like for me, like as a teenager, seeing that it was disturbing, but it was also like there's a game that like goes this far. This is what I've been looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're tired of seeing Final Fantasy be about friendship and Kingdom Hearts being about friendship and all this light stuff, it's the classic like, ooh, this is edgy.
Oh, and that's one of the things. That's one of the things Takahashi was known for while he was trying to develop Xenogears, because he originally pitched it as as like the next Final Fantasy VIII, and it was too dark, too gritty, too realistic. And then they eventually were looking at it as a sequel for Chrono Trigger, and again, too dark, too gritty, too realistic. So if there's one thing I do love about Takahashi is while he does create these fantasy narratives, they are based in reality.
Yeah, and there's plenty of scenes in Xenogears too that like there's like a whole massacre in a church where you're stepping over dead bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And there's scenes like that definitely come to mind, but I feel like this was like no, we got to go darker. We got to go edgier. We got to put it all up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
especially because the main audience is attracted with Xenogears fans, which had grown by, 5 years at this point.
Right.
So
And-
you're either looking at older teenagers or early 20s as your low tier audience.
And again, maybe an M rating would have helped. It wouldn't have made the game sell better, probably, but let's be realistic here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It definitely wouldn't have helped the game sell better, but it could have expanded on what they were able to do.
Right.
But that this is the early 2000s. Everybody's trying to shy away from the M ratings and stuff like that because they want to sell as many copies as possible. Because what was catching a lot of flack at the time? Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Didn't hurt their sales.
Yeah, but that was more the sex thing than the blood.
In America, guns are okay. Sex.
Yeah, I always thought this had a teen rating because it was just blood, and like teen rating blood was pretty common in that day and age in the US. Still is.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there's a lot of blood. There's like giblets and stuff.
That's still
yeah.
blood. That's considered blood. It's not
That still
gore.
falls in the same category.
Yeah, back then they didn't have a separate category for gore.
Sure.
So it doesn't bother
But
them.
so we get to
continue
that
with the
point.
story.
We get to that point. The cast find Momo again, and they fight Albedo. He escapes. Basically the Song of Nephilim is like a decoy or like part of the real thing that he's trying to do. He unveils Proto Merkaba, which is the final dungeon, and they go and fight him again. And then they fight a big Gnosis, and that's it.
I do like that they kept the name Merkaba as like the final dungeon, because in Xenogears you fight Deus in the Merkaba.
Right.
Oh, did not put two and two together.
And the final boss theme is also a subtle remix of the final boss theme in Xenogears.
Which Matsuda was allowed to do. He was the original he was the original music director for Xenogears,
Correct.
and Takahashi was adamant that he join on for Xenosaga.
And it's interesting because Xenosaga compared to Xenogears, Xenosaga is a very quiet, austere game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't hear a lot of tracks in the game itself, but yet the actual soundtrack is really ambitious and really pretty. And aside from a handful of cutscenes, most of the tracks aren't used that much.
See, I try to pay attention to all the music. I am getting sick of the battle theme, though.
Oh yeah, the battle
It's
theme.
the same battle theme, no matter what you're fighting.
Also, they kind of use that one song a lot, like "Disaster on the Ship" or whatever. Like, there's this song that you hear in every time you get attacked by the Gnosis on the ship. It's the same song, and it's like, yeah, I felt like the music, we could have had some more songs in there. Definitely some more battle themes, that's for sure.
Hey, but Alan gets his own theme. He gets the comedic zany theme.
I won't lie though, I did kind of like the music. Like I really liked how it did call back to Xenosaga, especially Life or Death compared to Night of Fire.
Oh yeah, there are
the
really
trumpets in that
cool
are dead
tracks.
on. It's really cool, and that's one of my favorites from Xenogears. So I really like that they did do that work.
I didn't dislike the saga. The soundtrack. I just wish there was more songs.
Yeah.
Right, I agree. Vary up your battle themes. Like if it's primarily Gnosis you're fighting, have one specific battle theme. If it's Utic that you're fighting, have another. Like for the Utic, you could have like a highly militaristic style theme. Whereas with the Gnosis, you could have like a creepier from the shadows style.
They didn't do that in Gears though. There was the boss theme.
No, they didn't do that in Gears, but remember they're dealing with PlayStation 1 technology at that point, whereas now we're on the PlayStation 2,
but
which has a lot. Right,
But
same
Gears,
composer,
I felt like Gears had more themes.
It definitely did.
But not
if you look at the soundtrack list for Gears, it's 2 discs.
Yeah.
When you had the regular battle theme, you at least had the boss theme.
And they do it in this one too.
But there is no boss theme except for the final boss.
The original theme.
Yeah, the final. Yeah, that's fair.
Like you're going through hundreds of battles, all with the same theme. Like it gets monotonous at some point.
Yeah, that's just like how JRPGs were at that time, though.
Not Earthbound on Super Nintendo. They got a ton of battle themes.
Okay, but Earthbound also took 2 years making their cuts, just the background scenes for that game per battle.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm just saying that there is. You can have.
I respect that. Yeah,
there can be variations to the. Just because nobody did it doesn't mean it shouldn't have.
I mean, meanwhile, Mitsuda gets to have the full London Philharmonic behind him to make these themes.
Right, exactly. Utilize them.
Probably.
Like that was a selling point on the box. It was like, hey, it's the London Philharmonic.
Right, and then only to hear the same theme over and over, like same battle theme over and over and over and over and over.
And like some of the themes, like the Ormus theme is really, really pretty. There's a couple of like the Miracle, like some of these are really like choral, a cappella, like really powerful themes that either you hear like in the background of a cutscene or barely at all.
Right. Like, and I've talked about during Xenogears how I'm a huge fan of different musical scores, and this one just kind of annoyed me.
Now, episode
So-
2 and 3 go in a different direction.
Matsuda's not with 2 or 3, if I remember correctly. though.
No.
Oh, are all the same characters in there? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a direct continuation.
It's just much different, a little different art style, a little bit different art direction. I think it's the right way to
and
say it.
they get censored a little bit more, right? I remember seeing that in a video where they took out where there wasn't as much blood.
That was 3. They took all the blood.
and it was confusing, like as to what,
Yes.
whether they were getting killed or not because there's no blood in it. Was that in 3? I remember watching like a overview.
Yeah, 3. That was 3. There's a really infamous like Lady Macbeth moment where someone's crying over blood and there's no blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
And
the
it's like-
hell? How are you going to sit there and have somebody cry over blood with no blood?
Like, it's like they're looking at their hands and they're crying like there's blood on it. It's like there's no blood on your hands. Sorry.
Right. Like, what the hell?
But yeah, there's definitely a lot of like I would say stylistically 2 and 3 are a lot more simpatico, and they kind of bring, I guess, like what the style guide would be from here on out.
Okay.
This game is interesting and has a lot of the setup.
Better?
Oh, they mesh a lot better.
Okay.
This is like the weird, like more Xenogears-y version of what this story is supposed to be.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say they're better. We can debate that at the time.
I do look forward to them when we get there. I will say that.
Because I remember
even though,
parts of
like,
2 and 3, it's like, ooh, this game I still have them beat for other reasons.
Even though I didn't have the best time with this game, I mean, I still liked things about it. Like, it still had moments that I thought were very good and interesting. There was just something lacking for me. And I can't really explain it. I don't know. I mean, but I am very excited to see where 2 and 3 go. Like, I have that. Those are something that I'm looking forward when we get to those. So here.
I mean, it's I like coming back to this so many years later, because at one point this was my favorite game, and now it's not. And that's mostly because I played more games. Like, I played Xenogears now. I've seen what better can be.
Even though
That's
better
cool,
was,
though.
better was still not what it could have truly been.
Correct.
It's still unfinished.
Never will be, unfortunately, finished, I don't think either. So
But
Yeah.
this is the era though when that was happening so many times. Like Xenosaga getting nerfed the way it did, that's still better than like Advent Rising. Or like how many other games were there that were supposed to be parts of these big sagas that never got off the ground?
Yeah.
Xenosaga finishes.
Right. Well, and like I said, this goes back to Takahashi's ambition. Like I really wish we could have had that studio or the developer the distributor and producer that would give him the time and the money to see his vision through, because who knows what we would have gotten. But at the same time, I understand business is business, and you have to start seeing returns after some point because money's not infinite.
The company started in like 99. A lot of the staff came later after Chrono Cross got finished, I believe.
Yep.
So like they didn't really have that much time to work on it, realistically.
No, they didn't, because if they came over in 99 and it had to be ready to ship out at the end of 2001, you're looking at 2-year development time on a relatively new console.
New console, new studio. Yes, they
Yep.
had experience, but still a new studio. So
Like,
again,
and
A ton of time.
you're also dealing with a new publisher. So
Yeah.
in Namco, who's not the same as Squaresoft. Like, Squaresoft has their methods, Namco has theirs.
right. So for what they were able to put together with the ambition that was on display,
Mm-hmm.
it feels unfinished, but I feel like there's still applause to give.
Oh, still a
Agreed.
good game. I mean, even
Yeah.
though I had my complaints with it for this playthrough, and I felt more drained than I ever do for a game for this podcast,
Sorry,
it was
Mike.
still, it was my choice. I mean, I make the sketch.
I mean, it's like I said, it's a mentally draining game. And like, you can sit there and take notes and not understand everything going on still.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not talking about taking notes. I'm talking about just trying to beat it.
and apparently none of knows about the encyclopedia, so that was also like something that helps. But there's so many terms and so many phrases and so many things.
Can you at least speed it
It
up?
reminds me of like what Destiny 1 did.
You can't.
You can't speed up the
at
game.
all.
Like not even.
I
if
looked.
you
No.
play it on emulator.
I
You
mean,
can on an emulator.
you can on emulator, but there's no point. Like, you still have to sit there and read through a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
And if you have it sped up, even the
Mostly-
cutscenes are going faster.
Mostly for the battle.
And that's draining
Yeah,
most
Some
of
of
the
it
time.
grinding.
The battles will go a lot faster. Yeah,
battles could really
Oh, yeah.
speed
you
up.
go from like 10 minutes to 5 easily.
And also, like, I don't know, walking speed, like, across the levels, I thought was, like, slow as fuck. Like,
yeah, I played
it's a little
on
slow.
×2 speed. And I think I beat it in 33 hours.
the whole thing felt, I mean, for playing it as Ray, it just felt incredibly slow to me. And I was like, that kind of was a part of it too, where I'm like, oh, this game is killing me.
No, it is slow. I didn't play with any times 2 speed, but it definitely it just wasn't. There was something missing to it that, and the battles do get slow.
Yeah, I think again,
Especially
this makes a good candidate for a re-release.
Oh yeah, like especially because as you get more and more techs, like more and more tech attacks, they're taking forever. Like for instance, was it Spark Blade or whatever is like a 3-second attack, whereas Lunar Blade is like a 20-second attack.
Yeah, and you can't skip it. I tried.
No,
You can't skip to the X-Buster cutscene though.
Yes.
I think
That was nice.
I think the only thing you could skip that I could find was when Momo changes into her other form or whatever. At least you can.
I never did that.
I think
I didn't
most
use
of the
it.
magic you
I
actually.
never knew what the purpose of it was, but you can skip that.
there's apparently so with Momo's ether attack that transforms her. There's other attacks that she unlocks with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. I just didn't.
Like one of which is her steel attack, and there's like some damaging attacks and stuff because otherwise her damage is just subpar.
Now I could have looked this up in a guide, but did anyone ever get to the other tree for Junior?
Other tree.
Because there's another ether tree for Junior that's just like off to the side.
Oh, so that, from my understanding, are the 2 ether attacks he unlocks through a side quest towards the end of the game where you have to fight Big Joe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't do that either.
The thing I did not do.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard for you, Mike. You just use the Erd Kaiser and he's done in one go.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
but then I have to play the game more.
I mean,
You just gotta like go to like the cabin or something and just attack a wall from what I saw.
Yeah, there's a cabin in the residential district that has that it's the one with the gray shop pillar, and you just you put Junior as your lead party member and you blast the walls.
Yeah, no, thank you. I had enough of this game.
I say, didn't you already delete it? Because it already.
I uninstalled the game and deleted it. Yes, I mean
Yes.
I kept my save just because I need it for
No
when we
turning
play
back.
the second one. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
a little
you
bit of
could-
stuff.
Okay, yeah.
You don't get much, but you get like an item or something.
I do appreciate some of the side quest stuff, like the segment addresses. I think is a cool idea.
Yeah.
Just finding random like little rooms throughout the game as you go, or like the robot side quests that you can just completely skip if you just don't bother to check.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna do it until I was reading up the guides. They're like, yeah, you might want this, and I'm like, I want this game to go by easier and faster, so I'll go do it. Oh god, so this reminded me of how much I don't like old RPGs sometimes from this era, because I had spent 2 hours trying to get that damn one part for that Erd Kaiser, because the guy didn't tell me, okay, first you gotta go to this town, talk to this guy, this little kid, to make it so then you can go over here and talk to this purple doll, so he'll give you an answer, and then you can go get the key. I found different guys and they were missing parts of that. Like,
Is this
that
the part
pissed me off.
where talking to the girl who's mute comes into play?
No, you just have to talk to a kid inside the colony town place.
Yeah, there's a girl that doesn't speak until you like give her a flower or something like that.
That's something else I didn't mess with.
The one in the hospital or whatever.
Yeah, you have to give her like a plant a seed or something.
Yeah, that's for a different thing. Yeah, no, I think you're talking about the purple doll in District 27 and 28 in Foundation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gives you a hint to go to the park and look by some trees. And
Yeah.
the item that's supposed to be there doesn't blink until you talk to that
It's
doll.
not there until you talk to him.
Right.
I press buttons, it's not there. So I was irritated.
And that's how, yeah, you need that for the head for Erd Kaiser.
Yeah. And then once you get all the pieces for Erd Kaiser, then you have to do the stupid quest for him, which is just literally going in there, let him talk, says a bunch of stupid shit, you leave, you come back. But at one point, his partner runs away because he insults him. So you have to go find his partner at a bar,
drinks
talk
too
to
much.
him to have him come back. And I'm like, I just want to be done with this.
There's certainly a zany sense of humor on the sidelines.
Right.
So I was just getting frustrated with the game and everything involved. So
There's a couple other characters we didn't really talk about. There's Virgil and then Cherenkov.
All right, real quick, I gotta give my props to Cherenkov for holding on all fours on the back of the spaceship pod in the middle of the fucking game.
Right.
Right? Yikes. Sorry.
Like, damn. And his death kind of hit the characters very hard. Very hard.
I mean, if anybody, he's like the Fae of the game because he has this similar backstory.
I know who
Yeah, very
Tarenko
similar
is.
backstory. He was the commander on the ship that was kind of a dick to Shion.
Oh, the one that
And then-
was
and-
like an
He
alien?
turns into a Gnosis, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
he
yeah.
turns into a Gnosis, and then they have to kill him, and Shion's all broken up about it.
I was
Like,
happy
even
to
though
kill
the
him.
commander literally just tried to kill him, or tried to kill her.
And then they hang out on a beach together.
I had no issue when he died. I was like, good, he's gone. Fuck him.
I mean, all the dicks die in the game. Virgil dies because Cosmos just shoots him.
Yeah.
Yup.
But he's not dead because he's in a
Yeah.
he's in the late cutscene.
I don't know.
I mean-
The Virgil stuff kind of reminded me of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 with the different characters that are forced to fight each other. They're like born just to be in war, and how he's all like, they don't matter. They're not real people. That's kind of like the same thing you'll see.
Yeah.
If any of you get to play Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which you should. It's one of the
I will in maybe 5 years.
Well, and like if you're seeing him in the cutscene, like it could just be a like again, I haven't beaten the game, so this is just me exposing on like doing some exposition. It could just be a flashback. But yeah, Cosmos did straight up murder him.
Or maybe there's more going on that we'll learn about later on.
That's fair. That's fair.
Considering he's in that cutscene in a freaking cloak who was talking to somebody, I'm like, well, there's gonna be more to this.
That's the Fiora of the game, I guess. Any Xenoblade Chronicles 1 players?
No.
It's been a while.
Like
Who-
so
who
many
is it?
years ago, and I didn't even get through 20% of the game because I was too busy exploring.
Well, and like so, bringing up Virgil, that kind of reminds me of something. You know, they make it a point to sit there and talk about DME addiction,
Yeah.
and then they really don't talk about it again after that.
Well, yeah,
Like,
they
make it
said
this huge thing.
they set up this idea that Virgil basically is a cannibal for Realians, and it's kind of like a drug thing.
Right.
Oh.
But they make a huge deal out of it, and then nothing after he dies. So they
Yeah.
make it seem like we're just going to be running into DME addicts everywhere. Like, hey, man, you got a bump? That's a nice Series 100. How much for? You know?
And I mean, they also make a big deal about Xion being a therapist for Realians for a minute there.
Well, that kind of showed, like, she tends to be cold to anybody else that's, you know, like a living, breathing thing. And then she has a soft spot for Realians. That's kind of how I saw that.
She's
You
only
know,
really
that
cold to
humanized-
Alan.
Yeah, I was gonna say Alan's not a living, breathing thing at all. Like, let's just leave
I
it
mean,
alone.
everybody's cold. Let's be fair. Everybody's cold to Alan.
Yeah, oh,
Like-
man.
Like, he is the punching bag of this game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nobody likes him.
It's funny because there are also other parts of Xion that do come through every now and then that are interesting. Like, there's talk about like company secrets and corporate secrets and all that stuff, and she always seems like she's in on it or like in on the game. Like, she's never surprised by any like corporate dealings. Only when it affects her does she get upset. But like I was always surprised by like, oh, she's not on the level because she can be shady if she wants to, but she knows that shit goes on.
Right. She definitely knows shit goes on, and she knows her place is not to talk about.
Yeah, it's kind of like Titan.
And then she carries like, oh yeah, my boyfriend or whatever was killed a couple years ago. That was traumatic.
But here we are with Cosmos 2.0.
And she still, has a soft spot for Cosmos, so she doesn't hold it against her.
Right.
Cosmos.
Well, because it's a completely different Cosmos. You have the Cosmos that we have, which is essentially a rewind on Cosmos, trying to figure out where they went wrong on Cosmos 1, and then you have Cosmos 1, who was the archetype of the project, and the only person who knew everything about her was Kevin, her long dead boyfriend.
And it's like, if you see Kevin and you see Alan, like, Alan, you don't have a shot, buddy.
Right, you really don't. She aims high. Like, she seems like the kind of woman that's gonna flirt with a man to get what she wants, and then just, be like, okay, bye.
I think she really liked Kevin. Like, they painted it as she really liked Kevin.
I think Kevin
Right,
was
for
good
sure.
too.
But then
Too
after
good for
that,
her, personally.
nobody has a shot.
Oh, because she's still mourning.
Right. Like, eventually she's going to sit there, like, who knows, after Cosmos is done and, like, shipped off for mass production, she's going to make a Kevin.
Maybe. But one other thing I do want to mention, too, especially early on, it is interesting how much they go into, like, what is clearly Japanese work culture.
Yep.
With a U.S. Army background.
Yeah, like, but like
You're not wrong.
staying late, everyone's just kind of there all the time. You have to
Working when
convince
you're
somebody
supposed to be
take a nap.
relaxing on a beach, playing with, some Realians and some brand new strangers.
Yeah, play volleyball? No, I gotta work on the Cosmos thing.
Right.
Like no other Xeno game that I know of really has a moment to do that. So I guess I appreciate kind of like, again, kind of bringing that realness.
Right, that's the bonding moment for everybody on this game. Like Xenogears didn't really have it. Like Faye bonded with the individual characters in their own ways, but there was no group bonding unless
Right.
you count being crucified. But like the only games you really you never really even see it in Final Fantasies.
The beach episode as a trope is, played out a bit, but it has its base in something important.
Right.
Making a party feel like a party.
Yeah, I mean, 7, you go to Costa del Sol. Isn't that a day at the beach?
Yeah, that's
you as
fair.
Cloud are figuring out what to do. You're figuring out who to date and all that stuff.
Right. You're not in a bathing suit lounging in a chair working on the, Genova Project 2.0.
You haven't played the remaster.
And you also got to freak out when it starts raining. That's important. At the beach.
Right.
Hey, that was important.
Yeah.
And compared to we get Junior having a birthday present, he's all psyched up that it's a gun.
Oh yeah.
Right. A Makarov, which he calls a Malikov. Or a Makalov. That's what it is. He calls it a Makalov in the American version. And it's like, even the text said Makarov.
Well, I think the voice acting was pretty solid overall. But, there are some faults for sure.
Well, the voice acting that they went with, so they went with the same studio that does Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
They even used a lot of the same voice actors.
Jetson.
Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to say that. I forgot.
Yeah, they used a lot of the same voice actors, so...
Now, when they do episode 2, they do change some of the voice actors, which sucks.
Yeah.
And then I think episode 3, they go back to everybody, and it's good again.
That just seems weird.
Episode 2 was the big push to westernized and get a global audience for some reason.
That worked great for Capcom when they did that. Hey, I get it.
But I think Cosmos's voice actors is just on point with the robotic delivery.
Yes, the non-emotional robotic delivery is just chef's kiss.
But not because I think I love Ziggy's voice actor, but I think he doesn't do it quite as well because he's still a cyborg and kind of working on his humanness. But yeah, I mean, you can.
Well, no, he's a cyborg who wants to go even further cyborg. Right. So it would make sense that he would lean into that his voice actor would lean more into that.
Right, that's fair.
Real quick, do we want to double back to Ziggy's story at all? Because that's kind of fun.
Sure, we should. Because we're running out of time here before we go to the next section. So yes, please.
Someone else describe it. I don't want to dominate everything.
No, you can go ahead.
You have a guy who dies and is signed up for essentially a cyborg project. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it was against his will, wasn't it?
This was a punishment for a crime, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, there was also Cherenkov that was also signed up for something similar.
Yeah, but Cherenkov went through it 8 times.
Ziggy, I think, was signed up for it, but then I think he committed suicide or something and was brought back against his will.
Oh, nice.
And
isn't it the Life Reanimation Project or
the
something
Life Recycling Act, which was then later outlawed.
Yeah, because it made people go crazy.
Yeah, and also Realians existed, so they didn't nearly need it anymore.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
but you do get a cool aesthetic character where you have a humanoid figure with obvious robotic parts. The dude's got half knees.
Yeah.
And there is a mobile game, Pied Piper, that delves more into his backstory for sure. That I believe just got archived for the first time.
Yes,
because it was a mobile game in 2002.
Yep.
So yeah, there's this. The story is this human wants to be more of a cyborg than a human now and wants to forget everything that he had as a human. And that's a very Xenogears-y plot line, I feel for a character.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I'm reading about it right now.
And then
nobody's got a Vodafone, do they? Can I borrow it?
I mean, I assume it'll be translated by fans eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Everything always is eventually.
Man, there's Ziggy as a kid at one point, and there's a whole scene where he buys the kid a dog, and they talk about I really wanted to get you a real one, but I just couldn't. And the kid's all happy. He's it doesn't matter to me.
That was a weird scene. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, because he thinks about it because she was Ziggy and it reminds him of the dog or whatever. It's
yeah.
Right.
Which is
he's my name is Ziggurat 8, and she's like, well, I'm just gonna call you Zig. And that reminds him of the time he bought his kid the robotic dog and says this is such and such, and the kid's like, well, I'm just gonna call him this, and it's very close to what the original model is.
Right.
So you got that flashback there.
They don't do anything else with his story in this game. And we should talk about the ending, I guess, because after you stop the big song in the film, I was going to remember, something with the Zohar relic. I don't even know what the hell was going on. But you think Cosmos almost dies, or Cosmos, and then she survives. So it's a cute.
Yeah, they do the big, we're going to blow up Proto Merkaba now because we stopped the song, and then the song could join with Proto Merkaba, and then they're going to do all that to use the Zohars to find militia or whatever. And then they stop that, but then they have the big, the base is going to explode. We all need to go. And Cosmos is like, I'm going to stay behind and press the button. Everyone else can go. And they're like, oh my god, is Cosmos gonna make it? Is she gonna get back to the ship in time? And surprise, surprise, she does.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, actually. I thought maybe like a Mass Effect 2 where she didn't make it, so they kind of rebuild her into. That's why she looks different.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
they
possible.
would have just rebuilt her, honestly. It's like
She's a robot, essentially, or an
robots,
android.
yeah.
And they have 2 songs by the same woman that did the Xenogears end credits theme this time.
Okay.
Joanna Hogg, right?
Yeah. So there's one that plays during that sequence and one that plays during the credits themselves.
That's cool, because I did always have a thing for the end credits theme in the original Xenogears. So
I
kind of
do think
looking
the
forward to
Xenogears
that.
one is better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Because we just had a thing for Xenogears. That played a big part in that.
Yeah.
Generally the better game, too.
And I know we
Yeah.
really haven't touched on the Zohar, because they really haven't touched on the Zohar all that much in this game. Do they go into them in the other 2?
Yeah, the Zohars are more important.
Okay, here you find out that they're not real. The real one is somewhere with
They're
no
emulators.
like yeah.
Yeah, they're emulators. Each of them, of course, they all have a Hebrew insignia. And what's funny is when you finally get into the Durandal, like all of them have the name of Jesus' disciples, except for the 13th, which is Marienkind.
Yes.
Which according to the German folklore, the Brothers Grimm kind of thing is essentially like the child of Mary.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
again, that's Takahashi really diving deep into biblical lore. So
I don't mind that. Sometimes it's
I don't mind that.
I think
yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah. It's interesting. I always thought
I know it
Takahashi
pisses off
wanted to,
some people, but
bring
it's like it's a
Western view on or an Eastern view on Western religions.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's just doing that, but it's so not really how it works, but close enough to make it interesting.
I mean,
Right.
if you give it 4,000 years and what relics
Yeah.
of modern day religions are going to be left?
I mean,
Oh,
hey,
no.
in 15 years you can forget the Jedi exist when they're all over the place. So hey, people forget things. It goes on.
Yeah, the Marienkind is the original Zohar. So
And I will say,
Jesus and his 12 disciples.
I do think that the other games do pay off some of the religious aspects.
Yeah.
They definitely
Okay.
are not it's not just table dressing.
I look
'Cause I like-
forward to more.
Yeah, they do have UTIC. They do have other aspects they kind of touch on, but again, 2 will kind of develop more.
Okay.
And like I said, 2 we'll get to in December of this year or around there. Might have to move it around. We'll see. But it's going to happen.
It's only 20 some hours. You can get through it.
That's going to be nice. This was not 20 some hours.
This one is really short for some reason.
Money, I think.
Xenosaga 2 being a 2-disc game and this being a 1-disc game, it's like, what the fuck?
Right.
Damn.
Right.
All right.
Well, you said did they update the graphics on 2?
They do.
We're going to watch a trailer. You'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
We'll do that in a little bit. Okay. Any last thing you want to say? We're going to go to questions, comments, or memories.
Let's do it.
All right. First from the I watched the entire Overblood Super Replay group from Nikolai Jensen. I really hope
That's
they do a
wonderful.
re-release of the trilogy someday. I bought the second episode way back in the day, only one release in Europe, and episode 1 last year, which kind of sucks since episode 3 is so damn expensive. That's what emulators are for.
That's what emulators are for. And the reason it's so expensive is because the production run was not that high. Because 1 and 2 did well under expectation.
Oh God, yes.
Well, Xenosaga 1 at least did sell 1 million copies.
Right. It sold 1 million, but I think the original plan was for 5 million.
Oh, God, was it?
Yeah.
That always works out great, have huge expectations. All right, from Spencer Miles Cross. I remember playing it when I worked at GameStop and checked it out. I was hyper on board for the first hour until I realized a few hours later that this was not a game for a teenage me. I couldn't understand why a game would be 10-1 to movies to gameplay. I've never gone back to it, but I'm curious on your 2025 thought.
I would definitely give it a playthrough because yes, it's 10-1 cutscenes to gameplay for a good portion of the game. But if you care about story, you kind of need that. And this also sets up the rest of the universe.
And from Elijah Taigi, he says, I wish this game was 6 games and a full anime series because my God, the lore is dummy thick.
Oh, yeah, it's worth mentioning that this was supposed to be a 6-game series across 3 console generations.
How'd that work out?
So, just so everyone's aware, following the success of this game, a 12-episode anime adaptation was produced.
I did watch it. It's not that great.
There's
It's
an anime?
not. No, it isn't, but there is an anime, yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Is it
And
translated to English?
Yes, it is dubbed
Yeah.
and
It's
everything.
on Funimation.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
I think the DS remake takes a bit more from the anime art style too.
Google is my friend.
We'll get to the DS game after I finish all three, most likely, because I am very curious about that DS game.
Apparently, they got rid of the.
Okay.
It has random battles on the DS one, so boo.
Yeah,
You can't see the guys on the map anymore.
I don't mind that. All right, and from Autumn Sevier, have fun. This one always looked up my alley. I found it on Demonoid as a teen. The ex-husband was happy when he seen it. I had to go through my swap magic, so he started playing it before deployment. It seemed good, but the cutscenes were long as hell. I don't know if that would still be true to today's standards. Yeah. Because of that, along with what I heard about 2 having a spot where you can lock yourself out of progress if you do the wrong thing, I've never played them. That said, those copies I got off Demonoid are still in my external just in case I get around to them. Right, from Kevin Ray Burkhammer, the most anime game I have on PS2. Pretty cool. From Eric Olson, wonder if they'll ever do a re-release of the trilogy. Would be nice.
It would be. I mean, we're still waiting on a Xenogears re-release. Not even a remaster, but a re-release.
Yeah,
the game hasn't
never
seen the light of day since 1997.
Well,
That's
yeah,
not
there's
true.
No, you can buy it right now on the PS3. I bought it
so
last
it's
year.
still
Yeah, don't
you
forget
have
that. That's how I played it for that episode. Was
Yep.
from the Virtual Console on PS3.
Right, but I'm saying like in its original form. There's such a following for the game, and so many people want to re-release that like Square would be stupid to not do it. All they got to do is upscale the graphics.
But
Or
I
like
mean,
to
at least
make-
put it on one of the later PSs.
Yeah, that
You know,
would
like,
make
it's-
sense.
Right.
It's like all
Chapter
the
3.
most of the good PS1 stuff is only on PS3.
Yeah.
which sucks.
But it's only
Right.
like $15.
Yeah, but the fact that it's just not in other systems is...
Yeah.
Right, I don't own a PS3, so therefore I can't purchase
A lot of people
it.
don't.
If
You could just buy one.
if
Yeah.
you can hook a PSP up to the internet, good luck. You can get it on there too, but it's really hard. You have to have
Right.
Well, you just you get a Steam Deck and you play it on there,
sure.
like I did.
You got to get
it
a
was
really
on Steam
old
Deck.
ass modem to hook it up to.
Right. From Sebastian Games, once you're done with everything Xeno-wise, would you ever do a Xeno tier list? I have no idea. We'll see if I ever get done. That's a key one right there.
Right,
So-
that's the key part.
But hey, I do finish series. I did the fucking Kingdom Hearts series on this podcast over the course of like 3 years, so I can do anything.
If you can do that, you can do anything. Yeah.
And from the official Laser Time community, I got one comment. I actually played from Luke Beatty. I actually played through that for the first time since I was a teenager earlier this year. I think it's great, even if the ending could be better. I really wish they stuck with the same art style for the sequel, though. Once I got to the second game, the change in visual was something I just couldn't get over, and I ended up losing interest in it. That happened when I tried playing it years ago, and a few months back, I guess I can at least appreciate this change to the fact that it caused me to never open my copy of Xenosaga 3, which is now a very expensive game.
Leave it sealed. You'll make thousands in the future.
Or just play it.
No.
That's fair.
See
Play it
leave
other
see
ways. All right, unfortunately,
I mean, it's legal to emulate since he owns the copy.
I mean, yes, I have, for a game that will never probably be re-released anyway, I say who gives a shit, but yes, I get it.
Right. But like, as far as the law's concerned, he's well within his rights.
Yeah, not a Nintendo game. If they could, they'd find a way for you not to be in your rights. So, hey, Nintendo does not like emulation. All right,
They really don't.
From the Xenogears group, I got a lot. So, thank you guys. I will not be able to read all of these. I had over
I did see that.
165 likes, and I was like,
Wow.
my God. So, that's not all comments, but I'll read what I can. From Eric Nightingale, I never gave this game a try, but really love Xenogears. What I like this game, it's RPG style like Xenogears. Not
Say
really.
so.
It's RPG style. Whether or not you're going to like it really depends on how well you like chopped down battle systems and long cutscenes.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll go with that. From Tiny AD, I liked it when I bought it in 2003, but I was a bit disappointed because I had expected Xenosaga to be Xenogears Episode 1. Me too, in 2003. Me too. Still upset about that. And from Aaron Murray, enjoy the trilogy. 3 is by far the best. Okay. From
That's what I've
Serendipity
heard.
Sarah, I played all 3, and 3 was my favorite. They finally made the battles and gameplay fun. Story was emotional and fun, but like everyone else I'm seeing post here, at first I expected Xenogears Episode 1 or something. Once I figured out the history behind the game, spiritual successor was a new concept for me back then. I was able to move past the comparison and love it for what it was. From Gerardo Lorena, I love the Xenosaga games, not merely as much as Xenogears, but the whole trilogy is great. From, this is kind of a spoiler, but I'm going to read anyway. From Logino Navarro, I like the trilogy. Second game wasn't great, but the third one is a gem. Fighting Weltall as a secret boss was fun.
I mean, if it's a secret boss, that's not really a spoiler.
It was a spoiler when I read it, and I wasn't happy about it, but that's fine. So when I read it earlier, a few days ago. From Bob Doesn't Care Johnson, never finished it either. I think I finished a second out of 3. A few years later, I found out on YouTube all the cutscenes made into a movie. This game needs a remaster at the very least for PS5. I'd buy it in a heartbeat. Yeah, I don't
Switch
know.
I
2,
would
baby.
this can't be on Switch 2. It's all about emulators. Switch can't have that on there. Might give people bad ideas.
It's a Monolith game, therefore.
This really should be on Switch at this point. Like everything, I mean, Xenosaga is not Xenosaga. Xenoblade is a big freaking hit. So they really should.
I mean, they re-released X. Like what? After that, I felt that anything was possible.
Yeah, they did re-release X, which they were holding on to like forever for some reason. I wonder why why they held on to that one so long.
Because that game was infamously a game you had to download like extra files for to make it run better on a Wii U.
Yeah.
And it was already it already had filled the disc.
Wow.
That's why it took forever, you think?
Well, they said that it was hard to do because of the file size. Like they had to really cut it down to really make it work. But they weren't sure it was going to happen at all. But I guess they figured it out eventually.
Yeah, it came out, so they must have.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to happen either, but it did, of course.
I'm glad it exists. I'll someday get to them. I have Xenoblade X actually on Wii U. I bought that game at a Target on clearance.
I played it a couple years ago. It's a fantastic game. I don't know if it's going to be as cool with the online down now, but
yeah, that might be difficult. I did beat the one on Switch, by the way, Dominic. So I did make it to credits on Xeno X. So hooray!
Nice.
Curious how the epilogue is.
I haven't played that epilogue yet. I just got the regular ending.
Hell yeah!
And I was going to try to do all the other, just going to try to do all the other shit before I did the epilogue.
All right, where was I? All right, from Maximin Nomadu. Man, I was far from let down the first time I played. I thought it was one of the best PS2 games at the time, better than FF10. That's a hot take right there, buddy. From R.A. Adams, I just couldn't get into it, to be honest. From Soon Phil, loved the Xenosaga trilogy with Shadow Hearts trilogy. These were my best PS2 time. Take it. From David Godin, 20 years after. Damn, we are old. Yeah, time keeps on ticking. From Nicholas Peets, it's a great game and series. The main reason it was received so horribly is that they tried to tie it in Xenogears as a prequel series.
Yeah, there's something to that we could talk more about it another time, perhaps. But
okay. From Shane Earhart, I started playing Xenosaga 1 years ago on my PS3, but I got soft locked in one of the shops and lost like 2 hours of progress. I need to pick it back up. Yeah, no, you sometimes got to take a break when that shit happens. Like you just need to stop.
Yeah.
From Josh O'Neill, the Japanese trailer for the second one felt like the most epic thing before it came out.
Which I think I just linked to.
Oh. From Samath, I only put 2 hours of gameplay, have both episodes. There's 3. From Brandon Coles, I pre-ordered the Xenosaga and remember getting a shirt with it. I only logged a few hours and never played it after. Very similar to what you described. I still have and hope one day play through as well. I didn't get a damn shirt.
You still have the shirt? Right, do you still have the shirt?
I wouldn't have it anymore after all my moves. It wouldn't fit me if I did have it, but I didn't get no shirt. I got nothing when I pre-ordered this game. Bastards. Funkoland, I'm coming for you.
Right? If you can find them.
They don't exist. I can't. So, okay.
I will say real quick, for me,
Yes.
episode 2 was like one of those games, like in that era, like when the PS2 was still around and GameStop would just have like a handful of new PS2 games in stock. In like 2010, 2011, Xenosaga 2 was that for me, like my local GameStop. We're like, oh, it's still here. I can just buy it.
And from Jason Arnold, the first one was good story-wise. They kept changing the gameplay, and the story went a little wonky on the 2 sequels. Not exactly a prequel to Xenogears. Well, they don't own it. They couldn't. From Clayton Piner, I have to find 2 and 3 now. If you're listening, all I got to say is my buddy Vim, who has a lair, will hook you up. Google, you'll figure it out. So...
I may or may not already have 2 ready to go.
I do. I got 2 and 3 ready to go. I've been ready for a long time. I mean, I've been meaning to play these games for a very long time, and I just never got to it. That's why it's on the show, because then I do it. From Chris King, I fell asleep while my wife and I played through number 1 again, but we're determined to play through all the Xeno games.
Hell yeah.
Good luck. All right. Okay, from Scott Moeller, I dropped the series after episode 2 sucked. Barely made it through this one. All right, from Mecom D. F. De Silva. Days ago, I could watch the anime and I liked it. Have you ever watched it? I didn't know it existed until this episode.
Right, I did not know it existed until about 25 minutes ago. And now I'm bound and determined.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. I mean, I might... Hey, you know what? I'll do an episode on it at some point. We'll do that.
Boy,
you guys watch it, feel free. But maybe we'll talk about it someday just because why not? Can't get that much Xenosaga, Xenogears content out there. So, one of my favorite series. All right, last one I'm going to read from this group, from Michael Tremaine. Yeah, this game was great. Loved the whole trilogy. Episode 2 had a weird art style change, but the battle system was exquisite. And then from the RPG Sanctuary group, another group I got a ton of comments, so thank you guys. Over 60 likes. I'll read what I can. From Patrick Morose, Episode 1 is a good is good. Really sets up a fantastic setting and just a fun game. Episode 2 is a disaster, and the reason we don't have episode 4 and 5. So just hold your nose and grin and bear when you play it. Episode 3 makes up for all the pain and suffering of episode 2 and has some great Xenogears callbacks along with a banging soundtrack.
So what I took from that comment is 1 is you looking for porn, 2 is masturbation without the payoff, and then 3 is finally the payoff.
We can go with that metaphor. Wasn't
2
what I
has
would
some
have
banging
chose.
tracks as well. Excuse you.
From Brett Dorian. This is the one with Cosmos, Momo, and the whole Albedo and Rubido story. Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
From Adrian Soap. Loved episode 1 for story, episode 3 for gameplay. Episode 2 is meh. Didn't want to recall the experience playing the game. I'm still looking forward to it. From Justin Shaw. Restart new game. Spend a ridiculous amount of time in VR combat. Level 99 your initial party and have enough gil to buy the anti-mecha and anti-genosis battle bot was best gear. Make the rest of part 1 really easy. I don't think you can buy them.
Those are found in the colony ship, aren't they?
Yeah. Later in the game. Like, they're not even accessible for a good chunk of the game, I don't think, till the end. I didn't buy them.
I'm probably going to have to buy them. You know
Okay,
my obsessive need 100% every game.
You feel free. From Jordan Davis, did anyone else find themselves legit disappointed when the cutscenes ended and you had to actually play until the next one? No, I was happy.
I like the
Right,
cutscenes.
it gave us something to do. That's the, hey, are you awake feature.
So, from Jen Verona, I said it wrong, but never owned the game, so I didn't play it. I was really excited to experience something from the Xeno universe, so I watched the cutscenes on YouTube, all of them. I enjoyed the characters a lot, even if the story was difficult to follow with so much lore dumping. Of course I love Xenogears, so this wasn't too much of an issue. Right. From Lidkif to God, excellent game. Get ready for long Hideo Kojima cutscenes.
There was no
I think Takahashi blows Kojima out the water with that.
There was no industrial footage or anything, unfortunately.
You guys really got to play Star Ocean 3 if you think these
I
are
want to. I own it.
There's
I
like an
bought it back
hour
in
and
the day.
10-minute cutscene in it.
Oh my
See, you're selling me on it. I want to see that.
You're not
Yeah,
selling me. I gotta.
nuts.
Right.
It's
We
so
need a
much
patch
worse
for
than
that.
this. Yeah.
We need a patch for that. We watched an hour and 10-minute cutscene, and all we got was this dumb patch.
I mean,
It's funny to mention too for episode 2 in Europe, because that was the only one that Europe got. Episode 1 was on a 5.5 hour DVD to watch.
cutscenes.
Yeah, it was just the cutscenes.
That's not even all of them. They're 7 hours.
They cut out the beach time.
I'll read one last comment from this group from Daniel Cruz. Damn, that reminds me. Bought it first day as well. Was my third RPG that I beat besides FFX, Star Ocean, New Hope. About the other 2 episodes, and they were still factory sealed till 5 years ago. After I got them, but never played too many backlog RPGs. Love it. Galaxy Rogue is good too. I'm aware.
Rogue Galaxy?
Yeah, that one. I bought it on PS4. Like, I'm going to play this one day. I also bought it back when it came out. Still haven't played it.
Hey, level 5 was on a roll for a while.
All right. So before we go to
Still
Shelf Stacker Boxer and give away a code, the code you get in today's episode is DC Justice League Cosmic Chaos for Steam. Supposed to be a good game. The code is MTB8H0L070CW32Y7. That is your code for DC's Justice League Cosmic Chaos. I've been sitting on for way too long. All right, we should go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Trey, why don't you lead us in?
I actually do already have this game on a shelf physically, so I mean, even though I hadn't actually
You
played
can't betray the.
it just
You can't betray it by putting it on.
I mean, I have a Xenoblade shrine in my basement here, so it's a part of that, like where I have all the Xenoblade amiibo, and I have the pictures of from 1, 2, and 3 all framed, and so it's in there. It's in that shrine. So it was there. So that one shelf.
All right.
You all gotta let us know how you find the ending when you finally get to it.
Yeah, whenever that happens. I mean, yeah, like I said before, I enjoyed it, but I really wish I could speed it up.
Don't ever feel bad. Anyone's on the show, don't feel bad if you don't finish a game. Like I make it my point, but that I don't make anyone else's point.
I always want to just because, but you know.
Well, I'm gonna finish the game.
But I got my own podcast I got to do too, so I only have so much time
I know.
to play games.
And Kyle.
Yeah, so I too actually also own this, and it is also on my shelf, so I guess I'm kind of stuck in that position as well.
You're not.
No, it's a good game. I do like
Take
it.
it down
I do
and
like
throw
it.
it in a box if you want. It could be like,
Nah,
F you.
my collection's small enough. I don't really have boxes, so that's kind of the reason for that. But it is a good game. I think it's fun. It's got all the core elements of a JRPG that people should like. So go for that if you like the battle system. Story's good depending on your age and kind of general ideology. A lot of niche. It's like 90% niche philosophy, if I'm not mistaken. So just really kind of be ready for that. But yeah, give it a go. Honestly, I'd put it on the shelf.
All right. I'll go next. I'm going to put it in the stack. I didn't love this game, but I didn't hate it, so it doesn't go in the box. But I had my issues with this game. Go in the stack. I'm glad we played it, though. I'm really glad it's finally done.
Congratulations.
It felt good. One of those games, you know.
I can imagine your fist going in the air once you finally beat it. You're like, yes, I'm done with this fucker.
Oh, there were swearing words, yes. I was like, fuck this game. So there was a bit of that. Dominic, did you go yet?
No,
Please, go.
shelf. It's an important game for me, even if it's not my favorite anymore. It's still like a really big, important part of my time growing up and loving video games and loving cutscenes and loving production values. So for all of that, and just for what I still take away from it now, and from the stuff I can appreciate more now that I'm older, it's definitely still a shelf game.
Okay. And Isiah.
I'm actually gonna. It's the first game that I've done on this podcast that's going in the stack. Like it's a good game as far as I'm concerned. It gives me a lot of what I want, but it's not like it's Xenogears where I'm going to be replaying it every year or like around my birthday or anything like that. Just because it's a lot to go through, a lot to understand, but it definitely deserves a playthrough or three to try to understand.
Right.
But then you don't get the fun of actually having to sit there and watch the cutscenes and not being able to like skip them.
You beat it once, that's enough.
Right.
All right, and then should we watch the Xenosaga episode 2 trailer that Dominic posted?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's 6 minutes long, Dominic.
I'm aware.
I'm not okay with that. All right.
So
we'll
you
all
can
start
always
it on
cut, you could always do a cut through like we watch it, you cut that portion
Yeah.
out and then
We'll just
That's
talk
kind of
about
a-
it if we watch it. That's fine.
So how do you
Okay.
guys
that's fair.
how do you guys do this? Do you like mute your or do you try to watch it at the same time or
I'm just
how-
going to watch the silence.
I
never
got it
do
in
this.
my ear.
I mean, the music is definitely important, but if you don't want to watch it with the music, I totally get it because you're recording.
Well,
Yes, I don't.
I was just if we all watch it, if we all try to watch it at the same time, it's not going to be in sync. That's like the audio. That's why I was wondering how you guys do it.
Oh.
You know.
I don't
I
know. I've
mean,
never
we could
done
always
it
do a
before.
countdown of have it loaded and then do a countdown 3, 2, 1 and go.
You can do that.
Okay.
Try that.
Could
Everybody
someone
got
just
it loaded?
share their screen?
I mean,
I got it loaded.
Oh, I guess I could do that, couldn't I?
there's still going to be advertisements and
Oh,
So-
good point.
I mean, someone
Okay.
could share their screen. We could just do it that way.
Hang on, let me actually open it up in
Great
YouTube.
radio.
Wait, no. Wait, will it work that way if I share it if I share my link in Discord, will it share it with my YouTube Premium so we don't
I'll do
have the ad?
So I'll just share it. Can you all see the video there, listeners, too, right?
It's loading.
Yep.
All right, I've got it loaded.
So we are now watching the Xenosaga 2 trailer. At least I'm watching it silently and playing Final Fantasy 4. But,
can we have the sound on though?
oh,
Hear
we
it?
have to have what sound for? Can you hear the sound?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this shouldn't pick up on the podcast.
Whatever.
The whatever is called YouTube saying no, no, no.
Yeah. My show got a lot of stuff taken off Spotify last week, so
Aw, I didn't know Spotify did. I don't play music.
no.
So
It was like
I don't.
10 of our 200 episodes, but still.
Well, that's still shitty.
Yeah.
I don't think Discord is playing the
Look,
sound.
hey,
It's an eggs,
Eggs.
It's a mess.
I'm here.
and it's it's gin.
I know, but I don't think I don't know if Craig hears it.
Oh yeah.
So that guy's back.
Ooh,
Marvelous.
Japanese.
Is that Momo?
Yeah.
no, that's,
Yep.
I
Did
don't
she
know if
grow
that's
up in
Momo.
5 years?
No.
Yes, that is Momo.
This is a direct continuation.
Then why does she look like she grew up for 5 years? Is
Don't worry about it.
that Junior?
Yes.
He's also what? Has he got 666 on his hand?
He had that on his hand in the game. You
Yeah.
just must not have been paying attention.
Yeah,
I wasn't
that
paying
was
attention.
Yeah, they
His,
got different numbers.
his brother or whatever had a
Yeah,
or
Guy
something.
didn't
There's
have
That's
669.
Shion?
What?
How does this game take place right after it? This looks like a couple years have all passed. Everybody's aged.
the people who did the
Momo's not old
anime
enough to
helped
drive.
with
Why
this
is she
game.
fucking driving?
That kind of looks like him.
I don't know. I do
It's
not
like
like what I'm
Ziggy
looking at,
is-
guys.
Ziggy looks
Yeah.
the same as Ziggy looks totally like Ziggy.
No, this
Ziggy
So
doesn't
does Tony.
age. Yeah.
I mean, some characters look the same, but like it's just weird.
There's a new
Who the hell is
character.
that?
New
That a
character.
That's
There's
chaos.
chaos.
Oh wow.
I'm not
Okay, Chaos kind of looks the same.
a little bit.
His hair is different.
Diamond looks
we killed
really.
him.
Albedo looks the same.
Can we
Yep.
kill him?
Yeah, you know.
The
They toned down
There's
the
more-
sword
effects a
guy
lot.
is new, right?
There's more action in the cutscenes.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that's Jin. That's Shion's brother.
Oh, okay. Why is Junior?
Junior got
Okay, we got a nice little
cardigan.
Super Saiyan power-up scene.
Junior got a cardigan.
Doing a
It's a
Luminaire.
nice cardigan, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Shion lost the glasses. Okay, good.
They actually gave her glasses because they couldn't animate her emotions well enough in the first game.
What?
It
Yeah.
doesn't really hide her face,
That's
though.
kinda
You
funny.
can still see all of it.
Yeah, they got rid of the
Did they
super
tell Junior
bulging
to finally
eyes.
take his ass to school? Is that why he's beating up other kids?
Is that Alan?
Yeah.
Oh,
Alan
he's
finally
still
does
around?
something.
That's too bad. I don't know how this just looks strange.
So this is the great thing of like episode 1 is like the Dreamcast era. This is the early HD era.
Oh, good point. Okay.
Yeah.
You can kind of see that.
Yeah.
Or more than kind of.
The soundtrack is so fucking good. It's different, but it's good.
So you got an 8-year-old driving while a 12-year-old is shooting guns out the back. That's very American.
At least, fair. At least the mechs look cooler in here.
Yeah,
there was
they
not
do.
enough mechs in Xenosaga episode 1.
The sunset's pretty. That's that. I don't think episode 1 could do that.
I mean, we finally get to see Cosmos.
Can have sunsets. Oh, yeah, she looks
Wow.
great, too.
She has longer hair.
It's way different.
Yeah.
Are you sure this is only a few minutes after, not a year or two?
I am sure.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hey, at least he
Yeah,
gets
the anime
more.
looks a lot like this.
Okay.
He looks the same.
I don't know how I feel. Like, so I like
So
some
Shion's
of
not
it.
wearing the company. Shion's not wearing the company uniform. Did she get future endeavored or something?
You know, maybe she finally got to take the day off.
Right.
Maybe she got fired after everything that happened in the first game. You know, like we're like, yeah,
Right.
we're done with you.
She got fired for giving over DSSS data to the Federation.
Well, even though the CEO of the company said to do it,
Right.
Was that the guy with Jet's voice?
Wilhelm, the blonde-haired guy,
No, the bald guy I was thinking of.
Helmer.
Yeah, I don't really know who's who. Let's be honest with you.
Wilhelm was the guy in the tuxedo.
Okay, this is just weird.
Seeing that
No,
needs
it's-
more context.
I mean, what you can't speak Japanese?
No.
I can put closed captions. Oh, did that help? I put
Oh, there
closed
we go.
captions
Thank
on for
you.
you.
Appreciate
Oh,
that.
Oh,
Now you just gotta be able to read Japanese.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Instead of just hearing, now you gotta read it too. Okay, that looks a lot like Xenogears.
There he is. That's Wilhelm.
Oh,
For a second, Junior has his Revolver Ocelot moment.
Right? That was like Junior having a Revolver Ocelot and Goku moment.
It was nice to see Ziggy for 4 seconds.
Right.
You don't look any different.
Junior got to practice spinning guns in between games.
In the 5 minutes between
And-
games.
Yeah,
So that's
sometimes.
so that's an
It's just-
04 game in Japan, 05 in America.
That was weird, by the way.
Mhm.
Doing a trailer on here.
Definitely weird.
Don't like it.
Thank you for
All right.
indulging me.
And I should introduce what we're talking about next week. Next week, you can hear. All right, the hell am I talking about next week? I can't even remember. Oh, I have the game I haven't finished yet. Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. That will be next week's episode.
Oh, I'm so sorry you have to go through that.
I put it on there. I'm a little sorry already too. So.
You're glutton for punishment, aren't you?
I played about an
very
hour
long,
of it today, and I was like,
I don't think it's super long, though, at least.
no, I don't think it is either.
Damn, my last punishment game was Charles Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden. I feel bad for you.
I wanted to play it though, did, and it was $3 on Steam. That's the only reason why it's on the show. I was not going to pay more than that.
Are you playing all the
$3.
DLC as well?
Okay, I got it for free on PlayStation Plus, and I still haven't played it.
I got it for free on Epic, and I bought it on Steam for the deluxe version. So yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about that next week, and we should go to plugs. Kyle, where can people find you at?
All right, so I am at the RPG Show, therepgshow.com, and we just opened our Blue Sky account at therepgshow.bsky.social. So head on over, check us out. Got a bunch of episodes, JRPGs, probably do like one every month and a half. Suikoden remasters, probably gonna do Lunar soon, Clear Obscure as well. So got a lot of good
Nice.
stuff coming.
Good.
Hunter line? You gonna do Hunter line?
No, we're not doing that one yet. I think Final Fantasy VI is actually the next one we have up.
Gotcha.
Nice. You're doing an amazing game.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that one's good.
A lot of good ones.
And Trey,
I followed you on Blue Sky, by the way. for the RPG show.
I should do
Thank
that too.
Yeah, wait, what am I doing? Oh, yeah, plug.
Plug.
Hi.
Where can people find you at?
Hi, it's Trey from Nintendo Main Podcast. That's where you can find me on that show that comes out every week. We have two of the three of us have Switch 2s reserved, so that's cool. Pre-order.
Damn.
So we're planning on all
Lucky
getting
you.
John's
Right?
John's got a plan for his, so hopefully we'll all get it when it comes out. But listen to well, I don't know when this is coming out, but what the
Next week.
episode we just did is us is us.
That comes out in June. This comes out next week.
I was gonna say, it's the last episode we did on Nintendo Main is us talking about, of course, our voyage to try to get the pre-orders and how much of a nightmare that was. So if you want to live through that again, you can listen to us talk about it. And I understand if you don't. I still have PTSD for it, but you know,
do what I do.
But you could find that at what? Not Get It.
Yes.
Never told you how much I like the name Nintendo Main. It's very clever.
Oh, thanks. So we kind of threw it together when we couldn't think of anything else. But you know, but we have like almost 500 episodes, and patreon.com/Nintendo Main Podcast. We have bonus shows on there too, and like, you know, youtube.com/Nintendo Main Podcast. It's any of the places. Just look up Nintendo Main Podcast, and you'll find us.
And there'll be a link in the show notes too. And Dominic.
Yeah, you can find me on Dissonant Waves. It's a YouTube podcast. We have accounts on Blue Sky and Twitter if you must as well. But it's a music podcast. We're on YouTube. We could go other places, but we just haven't done it yet. It's a cool time. Check us out.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, over 800 other episodes of this podcast. We do movies, TV shows, video games, comics, all sorts of content. You will see Xenogears, because the only Xeno thing is so far in the show notes. Definitely go check that out.
There's a Chrono Cross episode that does kind of count.
Xeno won't be in there. If you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon. We'll vote our Patreon poll. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. Currently 2 polls this month, again, back to normal because I'm not behind. If you want to be a part of the show, if you want to suggest things for the show, I will someday get to. If you want to just lurk, we have a Discord. Join it. It's free. I'm always happy to have new people just join us, chat with us. If you I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Free. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. Definitely go check her out. And check out A Gamer Looks at 40 with Bill Tucker. I'm sure he's talking Final Fantasy still, forever. And then also check out absolutely the best podcast of Work in Progress with Zach. He's on the show often, too. He talks about MCU movies and MCU-adjacent movies. Check out his podcast. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, audio only, TikTok, sometimes. And rate and reviews over each podcast. I think that's everything I need to say, so we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sayonara, baby.
Hell yeah.
We never mentioned that. I should put that in my
Waiting all day.
We didn't.
Yeah.